You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
An overnight tragedy takes place in Nashville. One teenager has died after a fight leads to gunfire in Madison. We've got an update on that shooting and what the investigation has revealed so far.
Coming up, I'll tell you all about the preparations for the Bonnaroo Festival, one of the biggest music festivals in Tennessee that's expecting more than 60,000 people.
We're here. The 90s have arrived and they are not going anywhere. How long this streak is going to last and how uncomfortable today could be. We're talking about an air quality alert. A lot coming your way in your forecast.
All right, Greg, thank you so much, and thank you for joining us here on Fox 17 News this morning. I'm Justin McFarland. We do begin with a breaking news update, really, out of Madison. We now know that a 16-year-old was shot during a fight that happened yesterday afternoon, and that 16-year-old has died. Now, Metro Police say that two groups of teenagers plan to meet up at a Madison park to settle an argument. Well, that situation escalated, and police say the two teens began shooting at each other. Police say that Justin Robinson was rushed to a hospital after being shot in the chest. He died late last night. Investigators are still looking for some of the other teens who ran away after that shooting took place. Nashville's Mayor Freddie O'Connell released a statement shortly after the shooting saying that we mourn the loss of another teenager to gun violence, this time in Madison. I am grateful to our first responders, park staff, and witnesses who assisted the victim and kept others safe. There's no one answer, but we have many partners committed to improving safety for our young people. If you want to view the previous coverage on this story and the growing trends of teen-related crimes and similar stories, you can visit our website at fox17.com. The other big story of the morning, without question, is going to be the heat. Summer is officially still a few weeks away, but the weather in this mid-state direction is going to be moving towards very hot and dangerous air quality. As we take a live look here from downtown Nashville, our city camera, the Metro Health Department is warning Middle Tennesseans about air quality concerns for today for sensitive groups such as people with asthma, older adults, children, and people working outdoors. If you have to be outdoors today, make sure to take more breaks and try to schedule outdoor activities before the hottest time of the day.
This really is that change from the pattern that we saw just throughout the week where it was beautiful to now the uncomfort, and now also, yes, this is the air quality map for us here this morning. So basically, you take Davidson County, you go out a county or two in every direction, and those are the areas we have to watch out. The more heavily populated areas where there's more traffic tend to have worse air quality. Everything Justin just said, spot on. Just make sure that if you know you've got some sort of respiratory issues, that you've got the emergency inhaler with you, and that you're just kind of taking it easy today. This is the first of many days in a row where we're going to be hot. So what's new this morning? I've now got all 7 days in the 7-day forecast at or above 90 degrees. Humidity climbs up a little bit each day until Saturday into Sunday, and the air quality alert will be in effect for us today. This really is that turning of the page to what will end up being the new normal for us, which will be heat. So we'll be talking about a lot of things today that then just keep in the back of the mind as we continue 90-degree day after 90-degree day. We do this every year at some point. This is the first time, and it is pretty early in the season to see 7 to 14 days in a row that could hit 90. Nothing on the radar right now. Everything is clear, and we're at 62 degrees. We're on our way to 90 very quickly today. Take a look at how quickly we jump. We go from 61 degrees at 6 a.m., and then after the sun's been up for an hour and a half or two, we're all the way up to 81 degrees by the time we hit 10 o'clock, and by lunchtime, we're already up near 90. And I mentioned a prolonged streak of this. We're going to take a look at the 7-day forecast, near record heat for the weekend, and then just start talking about those best practices just to get back and ingrain into your mind as we go into the next several hot days.
Stay clear traffic at I-40 at Dallas and Pike out near the airport. We're flowing along just fine. No big problems out there in either direction as we get you on the road this morning. There is a slowdown coming from the Clarksville area that we need to update you on in the next few minutes. They had a crash up there earlier in the morning. It's going to be I-24 going towards Clarksville. towards Clarksville. We were dealing with a part of the interstate that could have been closed in that area. We'll get you an update up there coming up here in the next few minutes. Well, Bonnaroo officially kicks off today with several stages and different genres of music. More than 60,000 people are expected to be there this weekend, and you can expect heavy traffic there in Manchester where it's being held. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar live to tell us about all the preparations for the Music Fest.
Justin, this is so exciting. It's day one of one of the biggest music festivals in Tennessee, Bonnaroo, and you're going to be seeing people getting into their car and driving towards that festival. With it, as you mentioned, there's going to be a lot of traffic coming in and out of Manchester, and TDOT officials say their main focus is to keep I-24 right here behind me flowing smoothly. Right now, you're not seeing too many cars driving by because, of course, it's still early. But later on, you're going to be seeing bumper-to-bumper traffic. So TDOT officials have prepared for that. They have postponed any lane closures at this time to make sure that you're not sitting in that bumper-to-bumper traffic too long. And they're asking people who are going to be driving out to that festival to stay on the right lane, to let everyone else who's not going to the festival to get to their destination quicker. Now, let me tell you something. It is going to be worth the drive because I looked up at the lineup, and tonight it's going to be Chris Lake. I talked to one of our assignment desk people there, Brittany, and she tells me that that's her favorite artist. On Saturday, my favorite artist is going to be playing Post Malone, and on Sunday it's going to be Megan Thee Stallion, a couple other artists. Just one of the many artists right here that is coming to Manchester to perform in front of all of these people who, of course, are excited to see them. So before you get on the road, you know what to expect, but again, it's going to be worth it. Reporting live here in Manchester, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Well, local residents say enough is enough when it comes to crime on public transportation buses. We're going to tell you what they say needs to change and what the CEO of WeGo says is being done to help put riders at ease.
That whole recreational area would have to be a no-wake zone.
We are continuing to hear from you as there are 4:09 is the time in Operation Crime and Justice. A woman is now facing multiple charges after threatening a security guard with a knife. Metro Police say that it was 19-year-old Brandy Jennings who claims the security guard threatened her first. But after further investigation by authorities, Jennings is now being charged with aggravated assault. This is yet another instance of violence taking place at the WeGo Central Bus Terminal in downtown Nashville, or at least the threat of violence. No one was actually hurt. Many people say they no longer feel safe down there. Fox 17 News is investigating the lack of visible security presence in the wake of recent crimes at the WeGo bus station in downtown. Now, just last month, we questioned the WeGo CEO, Stephen Bland, after he says the company has increased spending on contracted security services to more than $2.4 million. But when Fox 17 News crews visited the bus station, we saw little evidence of security. Fox 17 News ran into a Metro Council member, Jacob Kubin, who says that he's hoping to see some changes in the near future.
Really trying to utilize it to understand what's working, what's not working, what are the pain points, how do we solve it.
This is coming after Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell has launched a transit improvement plan. This should be going to the Metro Council for a first reading coming up next week. We've got continuing coverage this morning out of Sumner County on a proposal to license a private marina on Old Hickory Lake in Gallatin. A lot of people have a lot to say about this proposal, and the Army Corps of Engineers is in the process of evaluating all those public comments on the proposed Foxland Harbor Marina. Now, Mike Schulte there, you see him there, loves boating on Old Hickory Lake, but he's concerned that what he loves about this lake will change if the Foxland Harbor Marina is approved, because he says that the marina could hurt the environment.
As you can see, there's severe erosion coming all the way up and down this shoreline from the extensive traffic and especially the wake boats.
However, other folks on the water say they would like to see a new marina because other marinas in this area have a wait list. As of right now, the Army Corps of Engineers says that they will be reviewing the environmental assessment once it's complete. The document will be available for public review within the next month.
And coming up in your COVID forecast, an air quality alert for today, and this is the beginning of a long stretch of 90-degree heat. We'll break down what to expect heading toward the weekend.
Steer clear traffic, a quick look at I-40, very close to Donaldson Pike. You can see their traffic moving along pretty well. We'll get you a little 4:14 is the time. Federal agents say they have arrested several people who they believe may have ties to terrorism. Agents say they may have come across the southern border with the United States and Mexico. Fox 17 News' Matt Galka has more.
8 Tajikistan nationals arrested in New York, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles are in ICE custody. The New York Post reports some of the people arrested were discovered to have possible ties to ISIS members overseas. The discovery was made after the group initially crossed the southern border illegally before eventually being screened and reportedly given court dates.
The open border has welcomed many dangerous people.
Republicans seized on the opportunity to blame the Biden administration policies for the potential terror threat. One of the people arrested was allegedly talking about bombs, information obtained through a wiretap.
I've been meeting with some of the ambassadors from Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan in my office over the last several months. They've been warning us that there are central agents coming across the southern border that may have terror intent. Last night confirms it. So I'm very concerned.
FBI Director Christopher Wray last week warned Congress of potential threats through the border.
We have seen over the last 5 to 6 years an increase in the number of known or suspected terrorists, in other words, watch-listed subjects attempting to cross the border. And that is of concern.
Some Republicans also point to the stunning number of gotaways, immigrants who avoided agents but were still spotted entering the country. Around 1.6 million gotaways have been reported since President Biden took office in 2021 through 2023. That's more than the entire decade of 2010 to 2020, where there were 1.4 million.
None of us knows exactly how many of them are here, may have set up terrorist cells in America, because the border's been wide open for 3.5 years.
The group that was arrested was reportedly being watched for more than a month. Right now, investigators don't believe they were specifically sent to the U.S. to commit terror acts, but they did want to move to stop a plot before it developed. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Galka.
All right, let's get to your reason why we are taking a closer look at the forecast here. It's not rain that's the problem, not this time. It's the heat. They're starting to really ramp up here.
Yeah, the heat is on, and this is the catch. It isn't just 1 or 2 days where we go, oh, it's 90, 90, then we're great. Every day for the next 7, I've got a 90 or hotter. And it could end up being 14 days in a row. So we're settling into this. So basically, today is that day where we look at, the best practices that we'll just have to get reaccustomed to, revisit in the back of our mind, and then just ride that through the next couple of weeks. What to wear? Yeah, whatever can keep you cool and has light colors. That's it. Whatever that's going to be for you to handle 90-degree temperatures, go for it and go with it, and make that kind of the wardrobe the next couple of days. Whatever this might be, whether that's shorts, the sundress, the whole nine, know that every day will be just as hot as today, if not a little bit hotter through the weekend. Out the door, you're not going to feel it yet. It still feels good. This next few hours, the last few cool hours we'll have for quite some time. Through 7 o'clock, we'll stay in the 60s. The sun comes up, and it does its job very quickly. That being said, with no rain, to Justin's point, that's not a big deal for us here back home. So we shouldn't be seeing many issues when it comes to flights the next couple of days. Maybe you have some folks that are coming in town for this weekend. You're catching a flight later on this week, no problems, but a lot of heat. 88 degrees at noon, 91 at 3 p.m. That's what we're talking about here. Big Board only 7 delays right now at Nashville International. That's the lowest number we've seen so far this week at this time of the morning. 62 degrees, no wind, like I said, no problems when it comes to the airport itself. Lunchtime, this is not a patio day. There will not be a patio lunch day for 2 weeks, at least. 84 degrees at 11, 88 at noon, 90 degrees at 1 p.m. This is also the least humid day we're going to have. out of the next 5 to 7. So everything's starting to pick up here. The temperature takes over first. Humidity begins to climb after that. 93 degrees later on this afternoon. And yes, we're going to have unlimited sunshine all the way through 8:05, which will be our sunset. Tomorrow even hotter, 95. Still hot, 94 on Saturday. Father's Day, we've not gone triple digits in the forecast yet, but 99 degrees, a very good bet. 96 on Monday, 92 on Tuesday of next week. Looks to be our best chance to get a little extra cloud cover and to see a few showers and storms that could hopefully kick down our temperatures just a touch. But right now, it's only at a very small 30% chance.
Sarah, clear traffic at 419. A quick look here at I-65 at Trinity Lane there on the north side. As you can see in that area, traffic moving along pretty well. No big problems so far out there. We're doing okay as you get out and about there this morning. We'll continue to watch things for you there on that north side, give you the very latest things happening. Sarah, clear traffic live through 9. Well, it's been 8 years since a gunman walked into an Orlando nightclub and opened fire. 49 people were killed at the popular Pulse gay nightclub. It is the deadliest attack on the LGBTQ community and one of the worst mass shootings in the history of America. The city of Orlando, along with families of the victims, along with survivors and first responders and the rest of the community, all gathered to try to remember those lives that were lost. The city of Orlando purchased the nightclub property last year for around $2 million. They're hoping to build a permanent memorial, although there have been some pauses in the plan. City officials say the goal is to have the memorial complete by 2028 at the site of that shooting there in downtown Orlando. The United States and Ukraine says they're expected to sign a security pact on the sidelines of the G7 summit today in Italy. Now, the agreement follows months of negotiations between two countries. The deal is expected to commit the United States for 10 years to following continued training of Ukraine's armed forces, more cooperation in the production of weapons and military equipment, and the continued provision of military assistance and greater intelligence sharing. The sources says that the pledge is expected to be an executive agreement that would make it less formal than a treaty and not necessarily binding for any future presidents. Well, Hezbollah is now vowing to avenge the death of its senior military commander after an Israeli strike killed him. The Lebanese militant group claims that they will intensify attacks on the Lebanon-Israel border. Israel launched a strike on Tuesday. This is on a house where the commander and several Hezbollah officials were meeting at the time. Live look this morning along the campus of Vanderbilt University. That's where the university is still working on lots of improvements. We've got the latest on their efforts up next. Plus, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society will be hosting a walk coming up in October. 4:24 is the time. A live look there at First Horizon Park, looking ahead to Light the Night. That will take place on October the 17th, right there at First Horizon Park. The event will honor and remember those who had their lives affected by blood cancer. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is an organization dedicated to helping patients and their families with their fight with blood cancer. If you would like to participate in the walk, you can register right now on our website at fox17.com. Great cause. Inspectors have determined that the Port Royal Bridge is safe to travel over. Now, this comes after road closures over the weekend due to a crack in the bridge that can be pretty visible. You can see it, I believe, it's right back here in this area. Listen, that's it right there. Spring Hill says that this is just a cosmetic issue and not a structural problem. Once again, though, the road has reopened.
And the forecast taking over is the heat and slowly the humidity. What does that mean for Bonnaroo? Here today is the first day, and we've been talking about it all week. The heat has come, and now it's going to be here for the entire weekend of the fest. So 90 degrees today, 92 tomorrow, 94 on Saturday, and 97 on Sunday. This is the catch, though. Big camping event. Almost 24/7, we have things that are going to be going on there in Manchester. Nighttime temperatures get more and more abrasive, and not a drop of rain and barely a cloud in the sky the whole time. So the heat will be beating down, along with the sunshine, and not much relief at night. Just have all those things in mind if you're going, or if you know someone else who might be heading out and they don't check the weather that often. Today is not going to be anything like yesterday was. The heat will definitely be about 10 degrees hotter. Taking a look here, you can always download the Fox 17 Code Red weather app. That's a good way. You can just click on it real quick. You get our hour-by-hour forecast. You get our 7-day forecast. And that's kind of your tool when you're on the go to make sure you're getting all the alerts you need. You can also connect on Facebook, meteorologist Greg Bobus, or my X page on twitter.com, Greg Bobus WX. Good place to get your morning weather updates and what we'll be talking about here every day. And also severe weather updates in real time anytime we have any stronger weather. Right now, no rain through the weekend.
4:26 is the time. Vanderbilt University has been getting a bit of a makeover as of late. They have been working on several projects over there on campus, and that includes enhancements to the north and south end zone of the football stadium over there, First Bank Stadium, there at Vanderbilt. So here's a live look this morning along West End. So we're taking a look at another big area of change. Our photojournalist Kevin Mumphrey on the scene of the brand new Carmichael Towers there. Now, back in 2021, the 55-year-old building that used to be there was demolished, and the university is finally reopening Carmichael Towers with a brand new mission. Now, please keep in mind that the buildings look older than they are. They designed them that way to give the more historic look. This is a new residential hall there at Vanderbilt that will house 305 students. Carmichael Tower is an exciting new step, according to the university, to provide pivotal living and learning opportunities for the students there at Vanderbilt. The new building will be the final residential college on the West End neighborhood after 12 years of construction. Again, they continue to work on the football stadium. That work will continue on for several more months. Steer clear traffic out there for you on I-40 near Smith's Lane. We'll give you an update about what's going on from Clarksville coming up in a few.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are partnering with.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Coming up, I'll tell you how TDOT and THB is preparing for the amount of people that are going to be driving to Bonnaroo, one of the biggest music festivals right here in Tennessee.
And the heat is on. We are dry, bone dry all the way through the weekend. Our temperatures could be near record breaking. We'll get to that in the forecast.
Steer clear traffic takes us to I-40 at Spence Lane. No problems here, but we're facing a big slowdown on I-24 as you head towards Clarksville. We're going to get to that coming up in a few minutes. Thank you for joining us here on Fox 17 News this morning, just after 4:30 here on this Thursday morning. I'm Justin McFarland. Let's get now to the big story of the day, and that is going to be your weather. It's going to be really, really hot. Let's get to Greg.
And it's the kind of heat that once it gets here, just sticks around and does not go anywhere for a week, if not 2 weeks. We've talked about it all week long. Get the things done, get the yard work done, run the errands, do all that before it gets a little too uncomfortable. Well, now we're here. This morning is still okay, but the heat takes over the entire forecast for the next 7 days. Limited rain chances and an air quality alert is in effect here for a good chunk of Middle Tennessee. And what does that mean? If you have problems breathing, you have little kids, or maybe you have some elderly friends, next door neighbors or relatives, most at risk just to have a hard time breathing later today. So just make sure we're taking care of ourselves and limiting time outside if you can. If you've got to be outdoors, just find the shade. Give yourself a little break, an extra break or two, and take some time for yourself. Taking a look here, nothing happening. We're not going to be picking up anything on Doppler radar. Doppler radar is not going to be useful for us for at least the next 6 or 7 days. We're keeping it all clear for Code Red. We're just taking all the precautions and all of the moving into a heat wave type of a scenario when it comes to talking about the best practices we can do to make sure we're staying safe. Just know today, 81 degrees already by 10 o'clock, 91 at 2 p.m., 93 degrees at 5 o'clock, and we only get hotter from there. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, we'll be at 95 degrees on Friday, 94 on Saturday, up to 99 still, holding on to that number for Father's Day on Sunday. Still near record-breaking heat, and we're not done. We'll keep riding the wave of 90-degree temperatures into next week. Coming up in your forecast, my thoughts on any potential rain for those small chances next week in the forecast.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning gets us up to I-24 near Montgomery County. That is where we are dealing with a big interstate shutdown. This is going to be for I-24 West. I-24 West, this is right at Maxey Road there for that exit. So if you're coming from the Whites Creek or Jolton area, Pleasant View, headed towards Clarksville, that's where you're going to run into this, and it is causing a massive amount of slowdowns. According to the information we've got from Smoky Barn News, we know that what we're looking at here is a possible accident involving an 18-wheeler, according to them. And the traffic has been slowed down there since around 1 o'clock in the morning. It involves an 18-wheeler and at least one other car, according to Smoky Barn News. Commuters are asked to seek an alternate route. I would suggest Highway 41, which is going to be Clarksville Pike, runs right next door to I-24. You can use that as a good way to steer clear until more lanes become available. We'll continue to watch that. Coming again towards Clarksville. If you're coming in from Clarksville into Nashville, you're doing okay. Well, speaking of I-24, let's shift from one side of I-24 to the other. That's because Bonnaroo is set to happen today down in Manchester. Big names like Post Malone, Megan Thee Stallion, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers are headlining this year. The 4-day music event includes over 150 performances. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar joins us live there down the road from I-24, giving us a bit of a preview on the preparations.
Good morning, Justin. This is an exciting day for people who love to go to music festivals like myself. I've been to Lollapalooza in Chicago, and I looked at the lineup for Bonnaroo and everything it has to offer, and it doesn't compare. Bonnaroo is huge, which means that tens of thousands of people are expected to head to Bonnaroo, and it's going to cause a lot of traffic, especially right here on I-24, which is the main focus of TDOT and THP officials. Now, if my photojournalist Madison wants to pan a little bit more this way, you can see right here behind me that THP is already here. They are, well, there's a trailer that's covering, but right behind that trailer, THP, there's several cars there that are on that exit ramp, and I spoke with a trooper that does confirm that they are here this early to make sure that things run smoothly for Bonnaroo. And TDOT and THP officials tell me that they are asking festival goers to stay on the right side of I-24 to make sure that the people who aren't going to the festival can get to their destination quicker, and to also ensure that it isn't bumper-to-bumper traffic, which we most likely are going to see, but just to make sure that you're not in that traffic for too long, they have postponed all construction for the duration of this festival. Now, if you're going to get in your car and you're going to drive to the festival, I suggest you do it, because I did see the lineup, and as you mentioned, Justin, Post Malone is going to be playing on Saturday, Megan Thee Stallion on Sunday, along with a lot of big name artists. This is huge, so don't miss it. Tickets are still available online. Reporting live in Manchester, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, Karen, thank you so much. A lot of fun for the folks down there. Well, listen to this, a much more serious story right now. As survivors of the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre graduated from high school yesterday. Think about that. During the ceremony, they honored the lives lost from that shooting. This comes after the gunman killed 20 of the first graders in that school and 6 staff members as well back on December the 14th of 2012. It was the deadliest K-12 shooting in U.S. history. You can get more big stories delivered right to your inbox by signing up for our daily newsletter. It's on our homepage at fox17.com. In your next half hour, we're going to tell you what an appeals court has to say about a Sumner County woman convicted of killing her newborn twins. Fox 17 News is your only live and local. 4:39 here on this Thursday morning in Operation Crime and Justice. Lindsay Lowe is back behind bars to finish her life sentence. This is after the state attorney general revoked her bond. The news comes after the guilty conviction for the 2011 double murder of her twin infants in Hendersonville was reinstated late last week. Lowe was originally convicted in 2013, but it was overturned on appeal. We're cracking down on crime. TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods has given some store employees police-like body cameras to wear with them in stores. Now, the parent company of TJ Maxx says that the measure is meant to put an end to shoplifting and keep customers and employees safe. The company did not share its policy and exactly when the cameras will be turned on or off, but a spokesperson did say it's only sharing video of any footage that they gather with law enforcement if they request it or in response to a subpoena. Right now, about a third of U.S. retailers say they are searching or researching body cameras to wear for employees. We'll take a look at this. Severe flooding leads Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to declare a state of emergency for at least 5 different counties. This video is from Broward County, that is in the Fort Lauderdale area. That is where cars have stalled out on the roadway and people were seen walking in water up to their knees like that. Some areas in South Florida received more than 8 inches of rain yesterday, and there's more rain on the way. It caused a lot of problems at the airport down there at both Fort Lauderdale as well as Miami International. So for more on all things weather, let's get to our local weather aficionado. Greg Bova standing by. Look at the hot temperatures here.
Very hot for us here, and Justin just checked out with BNA right now. There are 3 flights that are canceled. Either 2 are from Miami and 1 from Fort Lauderdale. So there you go. With everything you just saw there on your screen, our weather back home is not impacting flights. It's everywhere else that is giving us the issues. Chasing records here. I've updated our numbers in the forecast. The records obviously are still the same, but 93 degrees today. Not breaking a record, but tomorrow we're going to be close. 95, 94 on Saturday, and still going with 99 on Sunday. That would be the hottest Father's Day in half a decade, at least. Looking back the last 3 years, 87 degrees last year, 89 2 years ago, and 93 back in 2021. Also completely dry all the way through Sunday. So that means today all the way through Father's Day, no rain in the forecast. We've been stressing it. I've been talking about it all week long. The Fox 17 Code Red Weather app is great this time of the year because right now we're comfortable in the 50s and 60s, but 90 gets here by lunchtime.
Steer clear traffic. We continue to talk about that crash on I-24. This is going to be very close to the Maxey Road area there as you go towards the city of Clarksville. So 24 West, leaving Pleasant View, leaving Whites Creek, going towards Clarksville is where we've got that crash. We understand that the interstate is shut down, which is why you see all of that red going back for several miles. Best way to steer clear is Highway 41, runs right alongside the 24 area there. They've got detour set up, so follow police instructions. We'll let you know when it clears up. Calling for reparations. Coming up, we're going to tell you why an Oklahoma court decided against reparations for survivors of. It is 4:45 this morning. Oklahoma's top court decides against reparations for survivors of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. 3 survivors filed the lawsuit back in 2020. It was looking for compensation for the racially motivated destruction of Tulsa's Greenwood neighborhood, which at the time was known as Black Wall Street. The district court previously dismissed the lawsuit, says that being connected to an historical event does not provide a person with unlimited rights to seek compensation. The state's Supreme Court said that even though the plaintiff's grievances are legitimate, they do not fall within the scope of the state's public nuisance statute. Heavy rainfall could swamp South Florida for a 3rd day in a row, threatening more destructive flooding there in that area. Meanwhile, stifling heat is expected across many other parts of the United States, especially in the Southeast. Reed Binion reports.
Florida's governor declared a state of emergency on Wednesday amid torrential rain and life-threatening flooding. Communities across South Florida were inundated with high water, leaving drivers stranded and roads submerged. In Hallandale Beach, one man was seen kayaking among cars as high waters flooded parts of the city. The downpour breaking records. Fort Lauderdale experiencing a top 10 all-time wettest day, getting drenched Wednesday with about a month's worth of rainfall. Sarasota set a new record Tuesday for the most precipitation in 1 hour, seeing 3.93 inches of rain between 7 and 8 p.m. Throughout the whole day, Sarasota saw almost a month's worth of rainfall. And it wasn't just precipitation. There was also an EF1 tornado in Martin County, north of West Palm Beach. Meanwhile, in the western U.S., more than 20 million people were under heat alerts Wednesday. High temperatures set to ramp up from the plains to the East Coast on Thursday, with several cities expected to see the hottest day of the year so far. For much of the Gulf Coast, Southeast, and Mid-Atlantic, it will be even hotter on Friday and Saturday. Meanwhile, severe thunderstorms are expected across the Midwest Thursday, possibly including isolated tornadoes. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
4:47 is the time. Want to check in on how this heat is going to impact us with Greg Bobus, who's standing by here. Greg, temperatures today, it starts the return to the 90s.
It starts the return, and we don't look back. We have at least 7 days in a row they're going to be there. We've got not a drop of rain in the forecast all the way through Sunday. Wow. I've got a map of what we just showed, Justin, of what happened in the last 24 hours in Florida. Taking a look here, everywhere shaded in purple, areas that saw at least 6 inches of rainfall, but the white areas that have seen more than a foot worth, more than 12 inches, and that includes areas like Fort Lauderdale all the way down through Miami. You take that on the eastern, again, coast of the state. Back home, nothing on radar. Not even going to be using it here the next couple of days. And we're talking about heat. I'm going to keep stressing this the next few days. Not everyone is as hot, depending upon where you live. The Nashville area and everywhere surrounding is going to be a little bit hotter because we're in what's called the heat island. You get rid of a lot of the greenery, you get a lot of grass that's taken away, and you have more buildings. You've got more concrete. Those areas absorb that heat, and they take a little bit longer to let it back into the atmosphere so things stay warmer. It's almost like being in a little bit of a bubble, and that's how we're going to be. You get into some rural areas, temperatures will be a little bit cooler, and they'll still be hot, but Nashville's temperature likely will be one of the hotter ones we see on the map in the coming days. So what does this mean for just general activity outside? Take it easy. Maybe this is the drive to the car wash kind of a day and not getting the bucket and the sponge out, but you can still do it. I mean, just make sure you're picking the right hours and you're taking your time. Wash today, tomorrow, and Saturday without having any rain in the forecast. Nothing will mess up that brand new car wash, which is good. Now I've been telling you all week, get out there, go grill. Well, now it's kind of dealer's choice. Can you handle temperatures that are going to be in the upper 80s to right near 90? If so, go for it. But at 5 o'clock, 93 outside, 91 degrees at 6, and 89 degrees at 7. Not a ton of humidity, just a touch. Our feels like temperatures today very similar to the actual air temperatures, but the fact we're going to be about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday, it's going to feel hot no matter how you look at it. 95 degrees tomorrow, 94 on Saturday. Near record-breaking heat. The record on June 16th, which will be Sunday, is 100. We're going to hit 99, and we keep it going. This is the first time in quite some time we have had 7 straight days with 90-plus degree temperatures in the forecast.
Stay clear traffic at 449. A quick look here at what we're dealing with as far as your traffic is concerned on I-24. I-24 as you make your drive towards Clarksville. That's where we're dealing with the crash there, very close to Maxey Road. Now, the interstate we've been told is shut down. Our friends at Smoky Bar News is reporting that a tractor trailer may be involved with this particular crash. So heads up here as they continue to work on that. They've been already out there for several hours. But what can you do about it? Well, you could try to take Highway 40. You see it right there, 41A. This could be your best bet to steer clear. It's in the green this morning, at least for now. We'll continue to watch things for you. After a series of failed launches, NASA astronaut and Mount Juliet native Butch Wilmore finally made it on to the Boeing Starliner spacecraft. That happened last week. Now, Wilmore took a few minutes out of his day of running tests aboard the International Space Station to answer some of the questions from the students right here in Middle Tennessee, over at Tennessee Tech in particular. Take a listen.
Hi, I'm Amelia from Spencer. And my question is, how do astronauts adapt to zero gravity?
And I'm going to get Dr. Jeanette Epps to answer that question. Also a fan of Tennessee Tech. as you can see, with her baseball outfit on. So, Jeanette, how do astronauts adapt to zero gravity?
Well, that's a great question. We spend time practicing. You saw me floating here. You're still kind of floating a little. I've been here over 3 months, and we're still adapting. But what it's like to me is it's like scuba diving or swimming underwater, and you have to realize that you don't need to use a lot of force. You use very gentle forces, and your body, suddenly you know what to do, and you can easily adapt, stand still, and everything becomes easier with practice as well.
Unbelievable. From Tennessee Tech to space. NASA and Boeing say they expect to bring Starliner and its crew back to Earth as soon as Tuesday. Well, the Tennessee Titans say they are not done rebuilding their offensive line just yet. They have signed a tackle, Jaron Christian, who has played the last 6 years in the National Football League. He has started 9 games for the Cleveland Browns last season. That, of course, is where he had an offensive coach named Bill Callahan, who, of course, is now with the Titans this season. Even though Coach Callahan, Brian Callahan, the son there of Bill, says that he likes the progress so far, he did say that nothing is off the table when it comes to adding more players.
There's time now we can still add, and then there's also another, player movement at the end of the training camp when you talk about roster cuts. But yeah, we're still actively looking. We'll never stop that process. We're always looking to add players that we think can help us in the right places.
The Titans have the left side of that offensive line solidified, but they're still looking for a starting right guard and right tackle that they are trying to figure out right now. A word of warning for baseball fans out there as the Cincinnati Reds, a fan of the Reds, was tased after running onto the field. You can see he was trying to do a backflip there. He pulled it off pretty well, but then paid the price. This happens during a Reds-Guardians game. A person ran onto the field, approached one of the players, ran away, did a backflip before authorities chased him down with a taser. We're told it's a 19-year-old named William Hendon who's been arrested and booked into the Hamilton County Jail there in Cincinnati, Ohio. He's being charged with felony criminal trespassing as well as obstructing official business, in this case, a baseball game. Was it worth it? I don't think so. We all love spending the sunny days of summer outdoors with our furry companions, but it's important to remember the hottest weather comes with hazards. We've got tips on how to keep your pet safe this summer. And they're 4:56 is the time. The Franklin Police Department is getting a little creative when it comes to hiring. Take a look at the new way they're trying to reach job applicants. Franklin Police cruisers now have a QR code on them. If you scan that QR code, it takes you directly to a site where you can apply to be a member of the Franklin Police Department. Well, that's one way to do it. Starting pay out there in Franklin. Starting pay out there in Franklin for officers with no experience is $53,000 a year. Those with previous training can earn up to $65,000 a year to start. As temperatures continue to rise, animal experts share some tips on how to keep your pet safe during the heat. Now, experts say pet owners should look out for excessive drooling and heavier than usual panting. Also, if your dog feels warm to the touch and has a rapid heart rate, or just doesn't want to move, that could be a good sign that they're dealing with excessive heat. Now, if you suspect rather that your pet is having a heat episode, you need to get them into a cool, shaded area immediately. If symptoms do not improve quickly, take them to a vet.
And that's some good advice there. I mean, a lot of new folks to town here. I mean, or maybe just new dog owners this first year. Just know that this is one of those times where you may not have had to deal with this for quite some time, but after today, then it's kind of business as usual when it's taking care of ourselves or our pets. Here we go. The orange glow on our Metro Center camera. We're gearing up for it. We're not that warm yet. Right side of your screen, we're still in the low 60s. And it's not that humid just yet. But this afternoon, we're going to be about 30 degrees warmer. We'll be at 93. The heat takes over, and it does not let go. It's going to kind of have a hold on us here for at least the next 7 to 14 days. This weekend, how does it look? Heat will continue. We have 90s today, 90s tomorrow, 94 on Saturday, 99 degrees on Father's Day. That could hit a record if we hit triple digits. It ties a record back from the 1950s. And humidity will be on the rise as well.
Clear clear traffic at 4:59. Here's a quick look out there at what we're dealing with. This is going to be at Clarksville, coming down from Clarksville. Clarksville to downtown looking good at 57 minutes. But if you're making that trip from Whites Creek towards the Clarksville area, that is where we are dealing with a significant slowdown very close to Maxey Road. According to authorities, we have got a significant crash there in that area that is slowing things up. Our friends over at Smoky Bar News says it could involve an 18-wheeler. Right now, that drive going into town is going to be a little bit slow. You want to try to take Highway 41A as a good way to steer clear on that north and west side. An update now on Red Frogs, that organization that is set up in downtown Nashville during the CMA Fest. The international non-for-profit says it handed out around 33,000 cups.
Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. We track severe weather.
Using our Code Red alerts up to 3 days in advance.
Warning you to weather that will impact your life.
Our forecast pinpoint a storm's path, showing when it will hit your neighborhood. That's where we are today. This low pressure system looks like it will be arriving in Brentwood at 4:15 on Wednesday.
Providing you the information needed to prepare and stay safe. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. We track severe weather.
Using our Code Red alerts up to 3 days in advance. This low pressure system looks like it will be arriving in Brentwood at 4:15 on Wednesday.
Providing you the information needed to prepare and stay safe. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects.
Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Your first line of defense when severe weather threatens. Warning you up to 3 days in advance.
So, when we call a Code Red weather alert,
know we're providing you with the information needed to prepare and stay safe.
You're watching Fox 17 WZTV Nashville.
The Fox 17 Code Red weather app, your first line of defense when severe weather threatens. Download the Fox 17 News Code Red weather app now.
You're watching Fox 17 WZTV Nashville. 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 You're watching Fox 17 WZTV Nashville.
Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. We track severe weather.
Using our Code Red alerts up to 3 days in advance.
Warning you to weather that will impact your life.
Our forecast pinpoint a storm's path, showing when it will hit your neighborhood. That's where we are today. This low pressure system looks like it will be arriving in Brentwood at 4:15 on Wednesday.
Providing you the information needed to prepare and stay safe. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. We track severe weather.
Using our Code Red alerts up to 3 days in advance. This low pressure system looks like it will be arriving in Brentwood at 4:15 on Wednesday.
Providing you the information needed to prepare and stay safe. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects.
Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Your first line of defense when severe weather threatens. Warning you up to 3 days in advance.
So, when we call a Code Red weather alert,
know we're providing you with the information needed to prepare and stay safe.
You're watching Fox 17 WZTV Nashville.
The Fox 17 Code Red Weather app, your first line of defense when severe weather threatens. Download the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather app now.
You're watching Fox 17 WZTV Nashville. 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 You're watching Fox 17 WZTV Nashville.
Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. We track severe weather.
Using our Code Red alerts up to 3 days in advance.
Warning you to weather that will impact your life.
Our forecast pinpoint a storm's path, showing when it will hit your neighborhood. That's where we already are. This low pressure system looks like it will be arriving in Brentwood at 4:15 on Wednesday.
Providing you the information needed to prepare and stay safe. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. We track severe weather.
Using our Code Red alerts up to 3 days in advance. This low pressure system looks like it will be arriving in Brentwood at 4:15 on Wednesday.
Providing you the information needed to prepare and stay safe. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects.
Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Your first line of defense when severe weather threatens. Warning you up to 3 days in advance.
So, when we call a Code Red weather alert,
know we're providing you with the information needed to prepare and stay safe.
You're watching Fox 17 WZTV Nashville.
The Fox 17 Code Red Weather app, your first line of defense when severe weather threatens. Download the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather app now.
You're watching Fox 17 WZTV Nashville. 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 You're watching Fox 17 WZTV Nashville.
Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. We track severe weather.
Using our Code Red alerts up to 3 days in advance.
Warning you to weather that will impact your life.
Our forecast pinpoint a storm's path, showing when it will hit your neighborhood. That's where we already are. This low pressure system looks like it will be arriving in Brentwood at 4:15 on Wednesday.
Providing you the information needed to prepare and stay safe. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. We track severe weather.
Using our Code Red alerts up to 3 days in advance. This low pressure system looks like it will be arriving in Brentwood at 4:15 on Wednesday.
Providing you the information needed to prepare and stay safe.
And Post Malone. Oh, also Red Hot Chili Peppers. Tickets are on sale online, so if you want to go ahead and buy them. Reporting live here in Manchester, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, Karen, thank you so much. Fox 17 News answering your security concerns regarding public buses. What the CEO of WeGo's 5:09 is the time, and right now in Operation Crime and Justice on Fox 17 News, we're talking about another example of violence at the WeGo Central bus station that's located in downtown Nashville. That's because one woman is now facing multiple charges after threatening a security guard with a knife. Metro Police say 19-year-old Brandy Jennings, right here on the screen, this woman, claims the security guard threatened her first. Well, now police say Jennings is being charged with aggravated assaults. Well, Fox 17 News continually asking questions because many people say they no longer feel safe while riding on WeGo buses. We have investigated the lack of a visible security presence right in the wake of recent crimes that we talked about at the WeGo bus station located again in downtown Nashville. Just last month, we questioned WeGo CEO Stephen Bland after he said the company has increased their spending on contracted security services to more than $2.4 million. $2.4 million. But when Fox 17 News visited the bus station, we saw little to no evidence of security. Well, Fox 17 News also ran into Metro Council member Jacob Coop, and he says that he hopes to see some changes in the near future.
Really trying to utilize it to understand what's working, what's not working, what are the pain points, how do we solve it.
This also comes as Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell, his transit improvement plan is now heading to Metro Council for the first reading. That is happening next week, so a whole lot more updates to come. Let's talk about boaters continuing coverage this Thursday morning on a proposal to license a private marina over on Old Hickory Lake in Gallatin. A lot of people have had a lot to say about this particular proposal, and now the Army Corps of Engineers is in the process of evaluating all those public comments on the proposed Foxland Harbor Marina. That's what it's named. Mike Schultz loves boating on Old Hickory Lake. Look at him. But now he says he's concerned about what he loves regarding this part of the lake and how it could change if the Foxland Harbor Marina is approved, because he says the new marina could hurt the environment.
As you can see, there's severe erosion coming all the way up and down this shoreline from the extensive traffic and especially the wake boats.
Well, other boaters say they would like to see a new marina because other marinas in the area, they have those wait lists and boaters really don't want to deal with those. As of right now, the Army Corps of Engineers is going to have to review the environmental assessment once it's completed. The document, though, is going to be available for public review within the next month.
Coming up, we are talking about the heat, the prolonged heat taking over not just for us, but a good chunk of the country. Right now, we're comfortable in the low 60s, but we'll try to find out how many days in a row we'll end up hitting that 90-degree mark.
And we're continuing to follow a crash report in Robertson County. I-24 West shut down. Take Highway 41A to steer clear. More steer clear traffic up. Well, Fox 17 News sharing a health alert this Thursday morning about the importance of sunscreen for fans over at the popular Bonnaroo Music Festival and the families who are going to be outdoors celebrating Father's Day. I know it seems like we know this, but it's always just a good reminder here. The CDC recommends that you use at least an SPF 15 and then go ahead and apply it 20 minutes before going out in the sun. And then remember to reapply and then reapply. And then don't rely on sunscreen alone. Consider wearing a hat and sunglasses, and please, 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 please stay hydrated. To prevent dehydration this weekend, remember there are free water stations throughout the Bonnaroo Music Festival. I know a lot of folks are taking in other beverages, so perhaps water, Greg, is not top of mind. But yes, drink water fast.
It's amazing what a little high-quality H2O will do for you on a day like today.
And I always forget to take my sunglasses. That's a big reminder for me.
100%. And it's also fun after these festivals are over, even if you've used the sunscreen or not, to see what the tan lines look like from some of these folks.
Ooh, yes.
You know what I mean? Like after 4 days of being out in the sun, and you go, ooh, okay, we're catching up the rest of the year here. But yeah, just some good, back of the mind things that we all know, but it's just always a good refresher to think about all that kind of stuff. Also, Eric and I were talking before the break ended, that make sure it's not expired. I've been there. I've grabbed the sunscreen from last year, lathered it up, and then 6 hours later, I'm a lobster. That's probably more useful than anything. Is just make sure whatever you're using actually is going to work. Taking a look, what to wear, open the closet, whatever can keep you cool, period. That is it. We're going to be in the 90s the next 7 days. There's no change day to day, just whatever is going to keep you cool. That's the best way to go. So find your own comfort level over the next couple of days and then ride that wave with these 90-degree temperatures. Out the door, 61 right now. Will take us to 64 degrees at 7 o'clock and then 68 at 8 o'clock this morning. We've got sunshine unlimited. That's how it's been all week. One thing we want to mention, not just dogs, but also kids and even ourselves. If you turn off the ignition and your windows are up, you're going to notice how quickly it's going to get hot in the car. We talk about this every year too, but maybe you're a new dog owner, maybe you're a new parent. The car can get real hot real quick. And yeah, we're up to about 124 degrees and 90-degree heat within a half hour. So just again, it's all these back of the mind things that we already know, but just the refresher course on our first heat wave of the year. No wind to mow. So here's the big one. How tough are you, and how much heat can you handle, and how much of a lawn do you have? All those things go into it. You can, the next couple of days, just know that you should probably pick the early morning hours or right around dinner time or close to sunset to be as comfortable as you possibly can. The 7-day forecast, 90 has taken over. 93 degrees today, 95 tomorrow, 94 degrees on Saturday. We have not changed that right there in the middle of your screen. We have not changed that 99-degree day on Father's Day. With a little humidity on that day, heat index values could be right around 101 degrees in the peak of the afternoon.
Everyone, sorry about that. Here we are, steer clear traffic. We continue to follow that crash coming down on I-24 from the Clarksville area. We are dealing with a slowdown as you head west up I-24 towards Clarksville itself. That slowdown because of a tractor trailer accident, we understand, that's there near Maxey Road. The best way to steer clear using Highway 41 right next door to it. That's going to help you navigate around it. Other than that, we're good to go across other parts of the city. I-40 at Spence Lane looking very nice out there so far this morning. We'll continue to watch the roads for you.
Justin, thank you. Developing right now, Vanderbilt University getting a makeover. Take a look right behind me here. The Commodores have been working on multiple projects, which include enhancements to, yes, the north and south end zones of their stadium. That's what you see right behind me. But this morning, we're taking another look at a different area. Fox 17 News photojournalist Kevin Mumphrey right here is on this particular scene. Now, keep in mind, back in 2021, a 55-year-old building was demolished. And now the university is finally reopening Carmichael Towers with a brand new mission. So that's what you're looking at right now. This newest residential college at Vanderbilt is going to house about 305 students. Carmichael's opening is an exciting step, the university says, towards their goal of providing living, learning opportunities on campus for all of their students. I wonder what living and learning, what they really mean about that, but keep this in mind. The new building is going to be their final residential college over in the West End neighborhood, concluding 12 years of ongoing construction projects. Making headlines. It has been 8 years since a gunman walked into an Orlando nightclub and opened fire. 49 people were killed at the Pulse nightclub. Again, this was over in Florida. It's the deadliest attack on the LGBTQ community. Orlando's mayor, along with families of the victims, survivors, first responders, and the community, they all gathered to pay homage. The city of Orlando also purchased this nightclub property last year for $2 million. They say they did this in hopes of building a permanent memorial in this area. A federal judge has temporarily blocked the Biden administration from enforcing a federal rule that requires people who sell firearms online and at gun shows to conduct background checks on their potential customers. This comes after the states of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Utah sued the Biden administration over the rule that took effect just last month. They claim the administration overstepped its authority and that he violated the Second Amendment. More than a dozen other GOP-led states are also challenging this new rule. International headlines now. The U.S. and Ukraine are expected to sign a security pact on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Italy today. The agreement follows months and months of negotiations between these particular two countries. The deal, though, is expected to commit the U.S. for 10 years to the following: continued training of Ukraine's armed forces, more cooperation in the productions of weapons and military equipment, and also the continued provision of military assistance and greater intelligence sharing. The sources telling us that the pledge is expected to go ahead and be an executive agreement that would make it less formal than a treaty and not necessarily binding for any future presidents. Hezbollah is now vowing to avenge the death of their senior military commander. This comes after an Israeli strike that killed him. The Lebanese militant group claims they will intensify attacks on the Lebanon-Israel border. Israel launched a strike Tuesday on a house where the commander and several Hezbollah officials were meeting. Defying gravity, an astronaut taking questions from a group of mid-state students yesterday. More on his life in space coming up in our next half hour.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are partnering with
5:24 is the time. Citizens in Mount Juliet are always speaking out about brand new developments they've got coming to town. Now, there's talks about brand new subdivisions, brand new businesses, and brand new roads there in Mount Juliet. Most who are coming up to make arguments about them talk about environmental impacts and concerns about that. Also, traffic problems that new businesses and new subdivisions could bring. But one man decided to turn to the power of prayer to try and convince city commissioners of thinking his way. Watch this.
Proverbs 21. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As rivers of water, he turns it wherever he will. A little bit like York, but rivers of water, he turns it where he will. Every way of a man or woman is right in his own eyes, but the Lord ponders the hearts. So I'm just, I think the stub rope's the answer. Through Moss, I understand, Ray, we're talking about how many years you have to wait and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just not a safe place to consider building it out. So I'm going to do something very strange. I'm going to pray. Lord, I just thank you that I love these guys, Kenny and Ray, and Scott, and the mayor, and even Bill and Jennifer. I don't know that well. And so I just ask, Father, that you would move in their hearts, that they would see wisdom in this. And if this is your will, then we'll accept it. Thank you for this neighborhood and the neighbors that have galvanized together. It means a lot to me, as does this city. In your name, amen. Bam.
Amen.
City commissioners say they appreciate all the feedback they get from all of their citizens to help them make decisions. Just something to be aware of as your friends and neighbors out there making their voices heard.
Taking a look at the forecast here, waking up on the right side of your screen, we are in the low 60s and we're going to aim for 90. We've talked about it all week long, that this was that day that was going to eventually make its way here and then settle us into all new weather when it comes to temperatures and feels. Not just now, not just this weekend, but in the next week as well. This might be the last humidity-free night we have. It'll still be on the warmer side, though, so maybe you've been itching to get the bonfire going. This might not be a night for you. The next several nights are going to keep the temperatures right near 90 degrees all the way through 6 p.m. And look at this at 86 degrees. So evening plans in general tonight are going to be some 10 degrees warmer than they were at the exact same time yesterday. We're talking 6 o'clock all the way through 10 p.m. So yes, just be mindful. It's not going to cool down very quickly at all. We're talking about Bonnaroo, whether or not you are going there or you know someone who is going there or you just live in Manchester and you're waking up with us this morning. 90 degrees will be your temperature later on this afternoon, 92. Tomorrow, 94 on Saturday and 97 degrees on Sunday. Not a drop of rain now through the end of the upcoming weekend.
Coming up in Steer Clear traffic, we're going to tell you about the big slowdown on I-24 as you make that drive up towards Clarksville. How much longer this crash could be with us and what you can do about it.
And make some room for a big old help with a cherry on top. Come on, it's Saturday.
Tracking storms, what you'll need to prepare now for the week ahead. Today at 5:30. You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Look at the sunrise coming up here. A little haze, an air quality alert for us today on the first day back to the 90s of many in a row. We'll plan you through your weekend and your forecast.
Coming up, I'll tell you how TDOT and THP is preparing for Bonnaroo, one of the biggest music festivals right here in Tennessee.
And a mother and son facing serious charges after police say they shot a man during an argument. What we're now learning this morning. Thanks so much for waking up with us here on a Thursday morning for Fox 17 News. I'm Erica Glover. Jennifer Waddell has the morning off. A beautiful sunrise right behind me, but we are at an air quality alert. We're going to get on right to Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobitz. Good morning.
Good morning, Erica. Yeah, a very good shot right behind you there of the sun coming up 2 minutes ago. So we're officially into our daylight of today, but our next weather maker is the heat. The big three things to know is the heat is taking over the forecast, limited rain chances, and an air quality alert is in effect. Now, it's not for everyone, but that does not mean that just because your county is not shaded in orange that it's going to be a perfect breathing day. If you've got respiratory issues, you know who you are. I'm one of those. So you'll know that today's one of those days, a little harder to catch your breath, especially for the little kids too, and also when it comes to maybe you have some older friends, relatives, neighbors, just watch out. Those are the groups that are most at risk here for just having a little bit of a hard time breathing. It's just going to be tougher. Take it easy today. You can even see a little bit of the haze that is out there. Air quality is just not great today, unfortunately. When you get a big flip-flop in a forecast in this kind of heat, it tends to be the thing. We have a really stagnant air, too. We have not had a breeze in several days. Look at your hour-by-hour forecast. We're in the 60s right now, so we're comfortably cool, but that sun going to do its work very quickly now that it officially is up. 81 degrees already by 10 o'clock, 90s, low 90s all of the afternoon, 1 o'clock all the way through 6 p.m. The only spots that might not hit that 90-degree mark are areas through southern Kentucky and out on the Cumberland Plateau, but you'll still be in the upper 80s.
Still clear traffic for you. Let's get you out and about here to the very latest happening on I-24 coming up from the Pleasant View area. We are dealing with a crash around Maxey Road that's got the interstate shut down at last check. This is going to be going westbound, so heads up, please keep in mind. Coming out of Pleasant View towards Clarksville. That's what we're talking about. If you're coming inbound from I-24 from Clarksville down towards Nashville, you're fine. It's outbound here in this case that we're talking about where the problem is going to be. So how do you deal with it? Highway 41A would be my best recommendation. It's in the green right now, which is rare, and it is running right alongside I-24 as you make that drive in from the Pleasant View area. You can take that to steer clear. Other areas of town doing pretty well. 65 at 24 on the north side. This is what we like to see for this time of the morning. We'll continue to watch it.
Justin, thank you so much. Well, new this Thursday morning, the 4-day Manchester Music Festival Bonnaroo is officially underway. The performances draw in more than 65,000 fans. So, of course, you can expect a lot of traffic over in Manchester where it's all being held. That is where we find Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar. And Karen, you got out there right before 4 o'clock. Are you seeing more and more folks starting to pour into this area?
I am starting to see more and more folks pour into this area. It's not as heavy as we're expecting it to be a little bit later because, of course, tens of thousands of people, as you know, are going to be heading to Manchester for Bonnaroo, one of the biggest music festivals right here in Tennessee. And I want to have you take a look at I-24 right here to my left. That's what we'll be showing you all morning. You can see that there are more cars that are coming down the interstate, and this interstate is what TDOT and THP will be focusing on. Now, they tell us that they are wanting festival goers to stay on the right side of the interstate so that the people that are heading elsewhere can get to their destination quicker. And to prepare, they have postponed all construction for the duration of this festival. Now, it's pretty early and artists are not playing until the afternoon, but we are seeing THP already right here behind me on scene. There is one THP car. We saw several cars on that exit ramp, and I spoke with the trooper who does confirm that they are here in preparation for Bonnaroo, and they want to make sure that things run as smoothly as possible. If you are going to make the drive, I suggest that you do, because there's going to be big name artists like Megan Thee Stallion and also Post Malone, who are two of my favorite artists. Tickets are still available online if you want to buy them. Reporting live here in Manchester, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you so much. Now to Operation Crime and Justice. A mother and son under arrest. Metro Police say the pair shot a man during an argument that happened last month. And now we're getting some more details. Take a look here at your screen. Police say they arrested Michelle Thornton and her son DeAndre Thornton Tuesday afternoon while the pair were driving on Gallatin Pike North. Police also say they found 2 guns in their car. Now the mother and son are both charged for the May 28th shooting with attempted criminal homicide. New this morning, we understand Metro Councilmember Joy Stiles is introducing a no-confidence resolution over 2 Metro directors' handling of controversy surrounding the Metro Arts Commission. We talked about this last month. This particular move, though, is aimed at the Director of Finance and the Director of Law. The resolution states that Metro Arts is in better financial shape than claimed in a March Metro memo to Metro Council, and it's a difference to the tune of several $1,000s. There are now also concerns over confusing legal advice about grant funding structures that reportedly left recipients waiting for months. The next Metro Council meeting, though, is June 18th. We have an update out of Gibson County, where a Gibson County sheriff is accused of making money off the labor and care of Tennessee inmates. The Tennessee Comptroller's Office says Sheriff Paul Thomas lied about inmate housing for his own profit. They say Thomas also owned a 20% share and a staffing agency that employed those inmates. Thomas has been indicted on the Davidson County and Gibson County grand juries on 22 counts, including theft, forgery, and official misconduct. Coming up this morning, U.S. intelligence officials have more information on the countries working to influence our upcoming elections. The countries they say already tried to spread disinformation. Right now we're talking about election disinformation. U.S. intelligence officials say, quote, enemies to the nation are now seeking to influence the 2024 presidential election. Well, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence has now ramped up warnings to political candidates as well as government leaders and others being targeted by foreign disinformation groups. The foreign nations aiming to influence U.S. voters so far include Russia, China, Iran, and also Cuba. The government's improved detection abilities, which started last fall, are now allowing them to pinpoint more bad actors. 5:40 is the time, so we do want to check in about that air quality alert. Hey there, Greg.
Yeah, if you've got respiratory issues today, it could be a tough one. You can even see some of the haze on a few of our sky cameras, so keep that in mind. As far as the forecast goes, here's your no-brainer for the day. AC off or on? On. Now I show this to tell you one other thing though. Your air conditioner is only made to cool the air 20 degrees cooler than what it is outside. So today it'll work fine, tomorrow should be great too, but by Sunday when we're up near 100 degrees, your AC might not get you down to those upper 60s, lower 70s, even middle 70s. Your AC is not broken. It's just not meant to work that hard. So just have that in mind, that if you're seeing things not get as cold as you want and that AC is cranking, it can only do so much, especially when you're that close to triple-digit heat. As far as the forecast goes, make sure we're watering everything that's alive outside. We're in charge of it now. We have no rain in the forecast for at least 5 to 7 days. Gardening forecast going to be really hot this afternoon. We're talking about 72 by 9 o'clock already, 88 at noon, and 91 degrees at 3 p.m. What I'll say for watering, one last note, is do it right now. Do it right after the sunrise here for the next couple of hours, or wait until we get close to sunset. Do not do it during the peak heating of the day.
Steer clear traffic. We're going to get to the big crash of the morning. This one's coming out from Clarksville, I-24, as you make the drive towards Clarksville. Just want to keep that in mind, towards Clarksville. So if you're coming inbound from Clarksville into town, you're doing okay. It's towards Clarksville where the problem is on I-24 west around Maxey Road. We do have a crash there, and that is blocking things up for quite a bit of distance there. You want to try to take Highway 41A. Clarksville Pike here. That's going to be your best friend to get into town there this morning until they get that cleaned up. They've been working on it now for several hours. Let's take a look at other things across town. This is going to be 65 at 24 there on the north side, starting to bunch up a little bit, but no major problems out there on the interstates once you get into Metro Nashville. It's just that one spot there near Montgomery County where we're having the issue.
Coming up, there are some Republican leaders that are not pleased with the bureau responsible for protecting consumers. At 5:45, let's talk about politics, because some lawmakers, they are not letting up on the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Well, this does come despite last month's Supreme Court ruling allowing the agency's funding source to go ahead and stand. By the way, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, if you're wondering what they do, they protect consumers by supervising banks and lenders. And their funding is through the Federal Reserve, not Congress. However, some conservatives say that is a problem. Republican Senator John Kennedy noting that the Fed does not receive revenue in the same way they did in the past. It still gets its funding from securities transactions and various fees. Let's go to space. Kind of. Well, after a series of failed launches, NASA astronaut and Mount Juliet native Butch Wilmore finally making it into space on Boeing's Starliner spacecraft. That was last week. But now, Wilmore, a two-time Tennessee Tech alum, taking a few minutes out of his day aboard the International Space Station to answer some questions from students of Tennessee Tech staff and faculty members. Listen in.
My name is John from Spencer. Can you float or show us a flip?
Can we show you a flip? Well, I think we can. Sure, we can do that. How about that? And this is where the control comes in. Touch the ceiling. Don't hold on to that's fun. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I love that. It's so cool to see them flipping in space. NASA and Boeing say they expect to bring Starliner and its crew back to Earth as soon as Tuesday. I know that Greg is such a space person. Is that okay? Can
I'm
I
a
say
space case sometimes when it comes to me getting my chores done every day.
Hey, that's the question I would have asked too. I want to see you flip it in space.
Right? I mean, I can't imagine what the feeling is. I mean, they say it's close to like being in water and whatnot, but really, it's got to be the most cool feeling in the world. And then for the kids, they get to ask questions.
I love that.
That are going into outer space.
Absolutely. I also love this sunrise over Nissan Stadium.
Yeah, the only problem with it though is the air quality is not so great. It looks a little bit hazy if you look at a few of our camera views. So just keep that in mind if you've got respiratory issues or any asthma. Just grab your inhaler just in case, and you should be okay as long as you're just taking it easy. We'll also talk about what we have to watch out for Saturday into Sunday when the humidity goes up a little bit, and that's when the hydration's extra important, because if you're not staying that way, your body just can't cool itself down when you have high temperature and high humidity. And as far as the humidity today goes, it is picking up just a little bit. Now, it's not much, but the dew points are up a good 6-7 degrees from yesterday. Doesn't sound like much, but when the temperatures are 10 degrees warmer and the dew points are up a little bit, the humidity is going to be noticeable for the first time this week. By no means will it be really muggy or oppressive, but definitely noticeable, especially right in the middle of the afternoon. Golfing forecast, I would say if you don't have a tee time in the next couple of hours, forget about it. By noon, 88 degrees, a lot of sun, barely even a breeze out there, 91 at 3 o'clock, and quite frankly, we'll be above the 90-degree mark from 1 o'clock all the way through 6 or 7 o'clock this evening. So it's going to be hot from start to finish. And that's a trend we're going to continue. So any golf game you want has to be that first tee time out of the gate here, off the tee box as early as possible the next 4 or 5 days. 95 degrees tomorrow, 94 on Saturday, and 99 for Dad's Day on Sunday.
Steer clear traffic out there. Let's get to the very latest happening on Clarksville, on that drive from Clarksville and I-24 going towards Clarksville. Right now, we are dealing with the crash that has shut down the interstate for the last several hours. Our friends over at Smoky Bar News suggest that there could be an 18-wheeler involved in that particular crash very close to Maxey Road. So if you're waking up and you're saying to yourself, I need to get from Pleasant View towards Clarksville, this is part of your normal drive this morning, it's going to be shut down right around exit 19, the Maxey Road exit there in that area. You can try to take Highway 41 to steer clear. That's all in the green right now. Good news for those making that drive. Other than that, we're good to go. If you got a flight this morning over at BNA, we're in great shape out there. No problems near the airport. There are storms down in Florida that could slow you up once you get to the airport, but that's a different story.
And consumer news right now, as streaming services constantly add new shows, the prices, though, just keep creeping higher and higher and higher. Fox 17 News' Karen Kaifa tackling the price hikes and how to cut back.
Escaping the summer heat to the air-conditioned comfort of a binge watch is getting more expensive.
If your original plan was, well, I'll save money, I'll get rid of cable, I'll have 1 or 2 streaming services. Now you need multiple streaming services, and you're more or less right back to what you were spending when you had cable, the other day.
Among streamers increasing prices this summer, NBC Universal's Peacock, with higher prices for monthly and annual plans starting in July. Max, the streamer of Warner Brothers Discovery, CNN's parent company, will raise prices on its ad-free services by $10 to $20 annually starting in July. And Spotify will also boost costs for U.S. subscribers starting in July. The price hikes come as streaming media companies face their own increases in the cost of doing business as they expand content offerings to keep up with one another.
You have all these services all creating their own original programming, which is expensive to create, and in turn, you're going to have to pay a little bit more for those services.
Nicholas De Leon, senior tech reporter for Consumer Reports, says streamers will likely experiment with different offers like lower price tiers with ads to keep inflation-weary subscribers tuned in.
Expect to see more bundles, expect to see more promotions. If you buy this product, we'll throw in that service, that type of thing. So it's a little bit chaotic, but that makes it fun.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Karen, thank you. Coming up, a massive fire at an oil depot in Iraq is ongoing. 5:54 is the time here on Fox 17 News this Thursday morning. We're showing you a live look of the Nashville skyline. The sun is up, and it's going to be a hot day. Also, there is an air quality alert that is in effect today. We know that highs are going to soar into the 90s and then stick around until early next week. Our Code Red meteorologist, Greg Bobus, he has you covered. He's going to have the full forecast in just a couple of minutes, so stay with us. Developing right now, though, massive flames caught on camera as an oil depot in Iraq goes up in flames. These are photos from overnight. Cleanup crews say storage tanks containing crude oil and liquid asphalt caught fire over in this refinery. As of this morning, firefighters are still trying to control the blaze. Happening closer to home and in your community, it's the 4th annual Bridge to Broadway Juneteenth Block Party, and it's happening this weekend. It's part of the National Museum of African American Music's Black Music Month celebrations. The Bridge to Broadway Block Party is happening this Sunday on Father's Day on Broadway, right between 5th and 6th Avenues. If you're not familiar, maybe you're new or you're visiting, that is right in front of Bridgestone Arena. It kicks off at noon with live music and vendors from the Nashville Black Market and runs until 8 p.m. The event is free. It's open to everyone, but do keep in mind, now Greg keeps telling y'all, it is going to be hot, very hot this Father's Day. So we're going to check in now with our Code Red meteorologist. Make sure folks are aware of that air quality alert in effect.
Yeah, air quality alert, respiratory people that have, asthma, just problems laboring, breathing in general. This could be a rough day for you here, and also a tough day for everybody. Look at our teacup Yorkie.
That is so cute.
It's our dog of the day. So Sable, I'll tell you right now, I've got a small dog too, Betty, that this could be one of those days where it's really quick ins and outs, And also, when we're doing the little dog walking forecast for you here, just keep in mind that we're going to have really quickly rising temperatures. Right now, we're fine. 61 degrees at 6 a.m., 64 at 7, 68 degrees at 8 a.m. Then we go to the 70s already by 9 o'clock, 80s already by 10 o'clock, and then we're in the 90s for all of this afternoon. What does that mean when we're walking? Well, the earlier you walk, the better, because when we get an air temperature of 95 degrees, now we'll be lower 90s today, but by tomorrow, that's where we're going to be. Sidewalk temperatures are 125 degrees, and blacktop is up to 140. This is just, again, one of those refresher courses here. Not that we don't already know that the ground gets hot when it's sunny, but this is how it's going to be today, one of the hotter days, just for how it's going to actually feel to the touch. How do you send us your Dog of the Day photos? Go to Facebook, meteorologist Greg Bobus. You find that pinned post, and that's where you can send in your photos to see your dog right here on Fox 17 News this morning.
Steer clear traffic for you. Let's get you to I-24. That's where we continue to deal with that crash at 24, making that drive into town towards Clarksville is what we're talking about. 24 west going towards Clarksville. We're seeing that slow down here because of an accident that could involve a tractor trailer. You want to use Highway 41 as the best way to steer clear. Again, this is near Maxey Road in the Pleasant View area as you go towards Clarksville. So 24 west is where the problem is. If you're 24 east coming into town from Clarksville towards Nashville, the way there is clear.
Well, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is waiving day use fees at more than 2,800 recreation areas June 16th and also June 19th. We're going to explain why. This is in observance of the Army Corps of Engineers birthday on the 16th and then Juneteenth on the 19th. The waiver covers fees for boat launch ramps and swimming beaches at recreation centers, including Cheatham Lake, Percy Priest Lake, Cordell Hull Lake, Center Hill Lake, and Old Hickory Lake. So get out there and enjoy while you can. If you're traveling this summer, travelers who need to renew their passport online, you can now make that happen. The State Department says they're testing its updated online passport renewal program, but it's only going to be available for a limited number of people on a daily basis, so you got to go ahead and take advantage. The agency says applications to renew will open midday Eastern time every day and then close once the limit has then been reached. Eligible travelers must be 25 years old or older with a valid passport that was issued between 2009 and 2015. The agency has not yet revealed, though, just how many people can apply for online renewals every day, but officials say the number will likely increase over time as they make more progress and get a better understanding of how it all works. Hey, get this. The last ship used by famous Antarctic explorer has now been found in the far north area. Look at your screen. An international team finding the wreck of the ship called the Quest off the coast of Canada. Sir Ernest Shackleton died aboard the ship back in 1922 and it disappeared back in 1962. Shackleton, though, is known for getting all of his expedition members back home alive after their ship was destroyed by an Antarctic sea ice. That was dating back in 1915. This is just a little bit of history to help start your Thursday. The more you know. Hey, stay with us, though. Our 6 o'clock hour starts right now.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
The sun is up and temperatures are already starting to climb. This is the first day we've talked about all week that hits 90, and I've added more 90-degree days in a row. We'll look at it in the forecast.
Coming up, I'll tell you how TDOT and THP is preparing for Bonnaroo, one of the biggest music festivals right here in Tennessee.
Steer clear traffic shows us I-24 Hickory Hollow Parkway. We're doing okay coming in from Antioch. It's the problems near Pleasant View that are the biggest issue this morning. We'll take you there.
Thank you so much for waking up with us here on a Thursday morning. For Fox 17 News, I'm Erica Glover. Jennifer Waddell has the morning off. We begin with a breaking news update out of Madison. We now know that a 16-year-old shot during a fight yesterday afternoon has unfortunately died. Metro Police say two groups of teenagers plan to meet up at a Madison park to settle some sort of argument. The situation, though, escalated, and police say that's when two of the teenagers began firing shots at one another. Police say Justin Robinson was ultimately rushed to the hospital after being shot in the chest, and he died overnight. Investigators right now are still looking for some of the teenagers who managed to take off running after that shooting. Again, that was over in Madison yesterday. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell, though, sharing a statement, writing, quote, "We mourn the loss of another teenager to gun violence, this time in Madison. I am grateful to our first responders, our park staff, and witnesses who assisted the victim and then kept others safe. There's no one answer, but we have many partners committed to improving safety for our young people. If you would like to catch up on previous coverage of the growing crime trends and similar stories, you can visit our website. Go to fox17.com. At 6:01, though, we do want to check in with our Code Red meteorologist who says this is the time to stay hydrated, have the sunglasses, all the things.
Yeah, all the summer things. And, you know, we've had a break from heat waves for, about 6-7 months. And now we're getting into our first stretch of 90-degree days, 7 of them in a row. So just, all the things that we already know to do, don't forget to start doing them today. That's what we're talking about as far as the sunscreen, the light clothing, the hydration. And we'll get used to this pattern pretty quickly with us having at least 7, if not 14 days at or above 90 degrees. What else is new this morning? Humidity begins to slowly climb late today, and the air quality is not so great today. An air quality alert is in effect for many of our counties, including Davidson County, Nashville itself, Murfreesboro. You're included in this, Dickson, Gallatin, even up toward Clarksville, not so great. So if you have respiratory issues, also watch out for young kids, watch out for some of our older neighbors and friends, family members. We're the ones who have the hardest time trying to breathe later on today. And I say we because I'm in that category. I got the inhaler with me this morning just in case. You can see a little bit of a haze over our skyline here this morning. Sun is already up, but it's not a crystal clear picture. And we've only had 3 days that have hit 90 degrees so far this year. 49 is our average for the year. We're going to add at least 7 days to that total here by the end of the 7-day forecast. We may end up adding 14 in a row if the forecast holds. 93 this afternoon, 90s all the way into and out of the weekend. Right side of your screen, your current temperatures are in the low 60s. Enjoy it for now. We're into the 70s by 9 a.m.
Steer clear traffic takes us to the Pleasant View area. That's where we've been dealing with a crash on I-24 West headed towards Clarksville. The slowdown there causing big problems for you on 24. Again, this is 24 West pushing out of the Pleasant View area towards Clarksville where the slowdown is right around Maxey Road. The best way to steer clear, Highway 41A runs right alongside I-24 and will get you where you need to go. Other than that, we're doing just fine. This is going to be I-24 very close to Hickory Hollow Parkway in the Antioch area. You can see here traffic moving along very nicely in that area as well. We'll continue to watch things for you, let you know about anything else that pops up.
Well, talking about driving, there are more than 65,000 music fans heading down to the farm in Manchester for Bonnaroo. It does mean 4 days of more traffic. That is where we find Fox 17 News reporter Karen Aguilar telling us about the preparations underway for this music festival. Karen, you've been out there since 4. I know you're going to be trying to speak with fans out there, but what are you seeing so far?
What I'm seeing so far is that traffic has picked up just a little bit on I-24, which is right here to my left, and that is the focus of TDOT and THP for this massive music festival, which is Bonnaroo. And you can actually see right there towards the beginning of that exit ramp, there is a THP car by the traffic cones. I did manage to speak to a trooper earlier who confirms that they are here to prepare for Bonnaroo and make sure that everything goes smoothly. Now, TDOT and THP tells me that festival goers should stay on the right side of Interstate 24 to make sure that everybody else who is going to a different destination gets there quicker. Now, TDOT and THP also tells me that to prepare for this festival, they have stopped construction on I-24 to make sure that there isn't bumper-to-bumper traffic, but yet I still have a feeling that we're going to be seeing that. And a lot of the artists aren't playing until the afternoon, so we might not see this bumper-to-bumper traffic anytime within this show. But what I can tell you is that if you're planning to get in your car and drive out to Bonnaroo today, please do, because the lineup is huge. And two of my favorite artists are going to be playing over the weekend, including Post Malone and Megan Thee Stallion. Tickets are still available online, so if you want to go, buy them. Reporting live here in Manchester, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you. The Murfreesboro Fire Department says they are having a very hard time holding on to the new firefighters after training. As a result, the fire chief says there are currently fire stations under construction that will not have people to staff them once they're finished. Justin McFarland is sharing.
6:08 is the time. The Murfreesboro Fire Department says they've lost millions of dollars over the past 5 years. It's because they are training firefighters who simply will not stay on the job after that training is done. Now, some leave for higher paying jobs in other departments once they're certified, but the chief says he's running into other issues like hiring firefighters who simply do not want to do the job after all.
It's starting to really catch up with us now, where we're seeing the effect of it. We have posted jobs and just a lack of people putting in. It's not the quality of workers we're wanting. It seems like everybody's coming here to get their training. We're getting people with no experience, not sure if they want to be a fireman, not somebody that really wants to come to work for us to be a fireman, or just, like I said, just coming to get their training.
The Murfreesboro City Council is offering a 4% pay increase, not just for the fire department, though, but for the police department and other city departments as well. The fire chief says at their current rate, though, they are putting several fire stations that are under construction on notice that they may not have enough people to actually staff them once they're finished. The United States is keeping tab on a fleet of Russian warships that have arrived in Cuba for military exercises. Now, the Pentagon deployed naval vessels in a sign of readiness as the fleet of Russian ships entered Havana. Now, the Russian convoy is made up of at least 4 vessels, including a nuclear-powered submarine. The Pentagon says the exercise posed no threat to the United States, and there will likely be more Russian activity in the Caribbean coming up in the next few months.
It certainly wouldn't come as a surprise to us if we see more activity around the United States, and they do have a global exercise that will, I think, likely culminate this fall.
Now, this visit comes a week after the Russian President Vladimir Putin warned that Russia could arm the enemies of countries that are supplying weapons to Ukraine.
Coming up, the heat has arrived and it's only going to get worse before it gets better. The sun is up. There's an air quality alert. We are officially into a summer mode. We're going to break down all the things you need to know heading into the weekend.
And steer clear traffic takes us down to I-24 in Antioch. That's where we're moving along pretty well, but we are dealing with some slowdowns on other parts of town.
Welcome back. Making headlines when it comes to politics. The House voted to go ahead and hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress for refusing to go ahead and turn over audio recordings of President Joe Biden's interviews regarding his classified documents case. The vote was right along with party lines, 2016 to 207. House Republicans sent a subpoena for the audio as part of their investigation into special counsel Robert Hur's decision not to charge Biden in this case. The full transcript of Biden's interviews have now been turned over, but the White House went ahead and asserted executive privilege over these particular audio recordings. Still talking about politics, President Biden arrived in Italy ahead of the Group of Seven summit, the G7 summit. The forum includes leaders from China, Canada, Britain, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan. Talks are expected to focus on Russia's war in Ukraine, as well as the war in the Middle East. Other priorities, though, include the challenges of artificial intelligence and migration. Back here, though, closer to home, we have continuing coverage on a proposal to license a private marina over on Old Hickory Lake. It's in Gallatin. A lot of people have had so much to say about this particular proposal, and now the Army Corps of Engineers is in the process of evaluating all those public comments on this Foxland Harbor Marina. That's what it's called. Mike Schultz, though, right here, loves boating on Old Hickory Lake, and he spoke with us. He explained his concerns that what he loves about this part of the lake will change if the Foxland Harbor Marina is approved, because he says the new marina could hurt the environment.
As you can see, there's severe erosion coming all the way up and down this shoreline from the extensive traffic and especially the wake boats.
There are other boaters, though, speaking with Fox 17 News, who say they would like to see a new marina because other marinas in the area have long wait lists. As of right now, though, the Army Corps of Engineers is going to review the environmental assessment once it's completed. The document is going to be available for public review within the next month. You can also get some more previous coverage on this story by heading to fox17.com. 6:14 is the time. We want to make sure that everyone who is waking up with us this Thursday morning knows that it is going to be hot. And I'm thinking about folks who have their children who are going to summer camps, who are on the playgrounds. It's always important to stay hydrated and keep the air quality alert in mind.
Yeah, air quality alert. I mean, this is a good point to it. Kids and then older adults and then anyone who has respiratory issues, there is an air quality alert in effect for today. Basically, just limit your activity. I'm not saying don't go outside if you have to. I'm not saying we can't do anything outside, but just watch out for your breathing. If you've got an inhaler, have it with you and just take it as easy as you can and just give yourself a few breaks. You should be okay because the heat's going to be up for this one. Sun is already up. It's already starting to heat us up. We started off in the upper 50s and low 60s. Now we're going to see our temperatures in the 70s in the next 2 hours, in the 80s by 10 o'clock. Taking a look, pollen forecast next 5 days. Thankfully, that's not going up all that much. It crept up a little bit early in the week, and now it's kind of steadied itself out to where it's going to be grass, oak, and juniper, the things that are still the biggest allergens. Now, taking a look at our UV index, this has been climbing every day this week. Now it's in the high to almost extreme category. Burn time without any covering, whether that just be light loose clothing or the sunscreen, going to be 15 minutes before you start getting toasty. Keep that in mind because today is going to be a great pool day. If you've got access to water, you're in for a treat. If you like the heat and you like to use the pool as the way to cool down, this is one for you. 91 degrees at 2 o'clock, 93 at 5 with sunshine the entire time. You're not going to find a lot of cloud cover later on this afternoon, and that's going to be the case for a good portion of the upcoming weekend. 95 tomorrow, 94 on Saturday, and then still calling for a 99, just shy of triple digits for Father's Day on Sunday. Next half hour, we'll see how that stacks up to records for June 16th and also the last couple of Father's Days as well.
Steer clear traffic out there, so let's get you going here on I-40 near Dallas and Pike. Out there this morning, we're looking pretty good. No big problems near the airport, looking just fine. If you've got a flight this morning coming or maybe picking somebody up there at B&A, you're doing okay out there as well. Let's take a look at our biggest problem spot of the morning, and that by far has been I-24, very close to Maxey Road. That's where we have been dealing with the crash since around 1 o'clock this morning. That has the interstate reportedly shut down going westward. So leaving Pleasant View going west towards Clarksville is where that holdup is there on 24. You want to use Highway 41 as the best way to steer clear of that. Again, as you're going towards Clarksville, if you're coming down from Clarksville towards Nashville, the roads are clear.
Justin, thank you. In Operation Crime and Justice, a Gibson County sheriff is now accused of making money off the labor and care of Tennessee inmates. The Tennessee Comptroller's Office says Sheriff Paul Thomas lied about inmate housing for his own profit. Well, they say Thomas also owned a 20% share in a staffing agency that employed those inmates. Thomas has now been indicted by the Davidson and Gibson County grand juries on 22 counts, including theft, forgery, and also official misconduct. Oklahoma's top court has spoken on reparations for survivors of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre, but officials have decided against it. 3 survivors, they filed a lawsuit back in 2020. They say they wanted compensation for the racially motivated destruction of Tulsa's Greenwood neighborhood, which at the time was known as Black Wall Street. A district court previously dismissed the lawsuit, saying being connected to a historical event does not provide a person with unlimited rights to seek compensation. The court said even though the plaintiff's grievances are legitimate, they do not fall within the scope of the state's public nuisance statute. In sports news, transgender swimmer Leah Thomas losing a legal challenge, and it's now going to keep her from competing in elite events, including the Olympics. It's a big story trending on Fox17.com. The Court of Arbitration for Sport dismissed her case against the World Aquatics governing body. Its 2022 rule bans transgender women who went through male puberty from competing in women's races and created an open category to compete instead. Well, Thomas called the rules invalid and unlawful. World Aquatics leaders said she did not have grounds to sue since she was not a member of USA Swimming and had not competed in any qualifying events. In Washington, D.C., a crowd of climate change protesters crashed the congressional baseball game last night. 8 people were arrested. The group was outside Nationals Park chanting with signs that read, quote, "Stop playing games with our future." The traditional baseball game dates back to 1909. In recent years, though, this annual event has drawn more scrutiny and also security concerns. Luckily, though, the protests did appear to be peaceful. Coming up this morning on Fox 17 News, a woman with a gun sparking a standoff in an FBI office building. How police, though, managed to talk her down. And a new place for Vanderbilt students to live. How this renovation, a live look here, is working towards a bigger goal for the university. 6:22 is the time, and right now Fox 17 News taking a live look in Metro Center, showing you the Thursday morning sunrise. Listen, Saturday and Sunday we are going to be in the mid and upper 90s. Father's Day, Sunday, is going to be the hottest day. Greg was saying earlier that the record is 100 for both days, but that was set back in 1952, so we could be reaching some records come this weekend. Well, a woman was arrested after barricading herself inside an FBI building in Seattle. This was yesterday. Police say the woman walked into the FBI building while pointing a gun at her chest, which then prompted the building to go on lockdown. Police say ultimately the woman was put the gun down, and about an hour or so later she was arrested. No injuries were reported and no hostages were taken. Again, this was over in Seattle. But closer to home, this morning we are taking a live look at ongoing construction over at Vanderbilt University. Our Fox 17 News photojournalist Kevin Mumphrey is right there at the university. Back in 2021, a 55-year-old building was demolished. And now the university is finally reopening this area, Carmichael Towers. This newest residential college over at Vanderbilt is going to house about 305 students, and the leaders there say it's a step towards allowing all Vanderbilt students to go ahead and live on campus, making it easier for them. The new building will be the final residential college in the Weston neighborhood, concluding 12 years of construction. It's been a long time coming over there, so students have that to look forward to if they're heading over to Vanderbilt University in the fall. Well, let's talk about your forecast and get you ready for what's ahead today. Take a look here on your screen for your lunchtime forecast. Maybe you want to soak in the sun and get outside. At 11 o'clock, it's already going to be at 84 degrees, and it just continues to ramp up heat-wise throughout this afternoon. By 1 p.m., we are all the way up till 90. Keep in mind there is an air quality alert that is in effect, but we're going to have the full details about that coming up later in our newscast. You just want to be mindful of that before heading out the door. When it comes to your steer clear traffic updates, that's all up to Justin McFarland.
All right, well, let's take a let's take a look at what we're dealing with here on I-65 at the I-24 junction just north of town. We have got slow traffic making its way up there from that north side. Traffic crawling because of congestion there as you get towards Trinity Lane. Typical for this time of the day. Nothing out of the ordinary here. You can take Ellington Parkway, Dickerson Pike, good ways to steer clear if you don't like what you see. Now, we're also dealing with a bit of a slowdown here on I-24. Been dealing with this all morning through the Pleasant View area. Bad crash on 24, very close to Maxey Road coming through Pleasant View. They've shut down 24 westbound going towards Clarksville this morning. So if you know you got to leave Pleasant View going towards Clarksville, towards Fort Campbell, they've got to shut down. You can take Highway 41 right over here. That's going to be your best bet to steer clear until they get that out of the way.
Thank you, Justin. Happening next, a mother and son facing serious charges after police say they shot a man during some sort of argument. We're going to explain the latest update.
Coming up with Bonnaroo, one of the biggest.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Just about 6:30, and here's a live look at the Nashville skyline this Thursday morning, reaching weather records. So far in 2024, we have reached 90 degrees 3 times, but that number is going to change starting today. Also ahead on Fox 17 News this morning, more than 60,000 music fans are taking over Manchester. We're live as Bonnaroo begins. And one Metro Council member wants a vote of no confidence regarding 2 Metro directors over how they're handling an ongoing controversy. We're going to break it all down.
And steer clear traffic takes us to I-40 at Fesler's Lane, just east of downtown. We're moving along pretty well here, but what about other areas? We've got an update for you.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 17 News this Thursday morning. I'm Erica Glover. Jennifer Waddell has the morning off. Now listen, if you're heading out the door, go ahead and take a water bottle. It is going to be so hot out there. Our Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Greg Bovis, though, trying to make sure you are prepared.
That is the biggest thing we can do for you here. I can't change the forecast. We can't change what's coming our way, but just letting you know before it happens. We've told you since Monday that today was the day we had to watch out for 90-degree temperatures to return and to start a brand new trend. Could be near triple digits on Sunday. It really is time to kick into summer gear here for at least the next 7 days. We'll be at or above 90 degrees. The big question down here, how many more do we have? Well, it could be up to 14 days in a row that we have 90-degree plus heat. A little hazy this morning because we have an air quality alert in effect. Not for everyone, but some of our more densely populated areas, air quality is just not great. So watch out for the little kiddos. Watch out for some of our older neighbors, friends, relatives. Give them a call, see how they're doing later today. If you got to be outside later today and you are, say, an asthma sufferer, respiratory illnesses, or just issues, it'd be a little tough to breathe if you're exerting yourself too much. This is one of those kind of days. Have the inhaler on you just in case. 62 degrees temperature right now, and we're going to see that number in the 70s in the next hour or two, and then 80s by 10 o'clock. It's a real quick warm-up today. 80 at 10, 90 degrees at 2 p.m., 90 at 5 o'clock, and we are not done. I mentioned 7 in a row. Here we go. 95 degrees tomorrow, 94 on Saturday, 99. We could hit 100 in the Nashville area on Father's Day itself. I mentioned a little while ago, I'm going to show you how that compares to the last several Father's Days and also what that means if we could be breaking any temperature records. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, yeah, it's 20, 30, 20% chance for rain. Really small chances. Most of us will not get any rainfall at all until Tuesday at best.
Steer clear traffic gets us out the door in West Nashville this morning. Let's get to I-40 at White Bridge Road. You're looking at traffic moving along very nicely over there, close to the Nations as you come out of Bellevue into West Nashville. No big problems over there this morning. We're doing just fine. It's back behind it where the issues are, not back behind it as in on I-40, but on I-24 coming through the Pleasant View area. Been dealing with a crash here near Maxey Road for the duration of the morning, really slowing things up as you come out of Pleasant View going towards Clarksville. So if you got to get to Clarksville this morning, that's where the slowdown is. 57 minutes if you're coming in. If you're leaving Clarksville going to Nashville, that's where that 57 minutes is. If you're leaving Nashville going to Clarksville, that number is going to be a bit higher than that. We're going to check on the drive times and all of that coming up in a few. But again, Clarksville Highway 41A, it's going to be your best friend to steer clear.
All right, Justin, thank you. In Operation Crime and Justice, Metro Police arresting a mother and son. They are charged with shooting a man during an argument last month, and now we're showing you their photos. Police say they arrested Michelle Thornton and her son, DeAndre Thornton, Tuesday afternoon as they were driving on Gallatin Pike North. Police also telling Fox 17 News they found 2 guns in their car. The mother and son are both charged in the May 28th shooting with attempted criminal homicide, and more charges, we're told, are on the way. Metro Council member Joy Stiles is introducing a no confidence resolution. It's all over 2 Metro directors handling, she says, of controversy around the Metro Arts Commission. We're getting some more updates about this because we first talked about this last month. The move is aimed at the Director of Finance and the Director of Law. They say the resolution that they're talking about states that Metro Arts is in better financial shape than claimed in the Metro March memo to Metro Council. It's a difference to the tune of about several $100,000. Also causing confusion, though, is legal advice about grant funding structures that left grant recipients waiting for months. The next Metro Council meeting, where we're going to get some more updates about this, is set for June 18th. Just ahead, a shooting on a Memphis interstate that wounded 5 people now has 2 suspects facing charges. Welcome back. 6:35 is the time. 2 suspects now facing charges after a shooting on a Memphis highway that left 1 man and 4 young children in critical condition. Children. Now here's a photo. One of the men is 25-year-old Kendrick Ray. Police say he and 18-year-old Lorenzo Watson fired shots at 5 victims, including children, while driving on the interstate during rush hour. This was on Tuesday afternoon. Officials now say they led police on a chase and ultimately crashed a stolen car before being taken into custody. Both suspects now facing serious multiple charges, including attempted first-degree murder. We're going to Florida now, where Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has declared a state of emergency after all of this heavy rain. Look at kayakers there causing some dangerous flooding situations. So we're going to show you a live look at South Florida, the Miami skyline. And things look so much different this morning, but I can tell you that folks who live in this area are still dealing with the implications of all the flooding. Communities across South Florida, including Miami, where you just saw, and Fort Lauderdale, talk about the flooding that's impacting where they live, where they work. The National Weather Service issuing a rare flash flood emergency. Look at these cars stranded, vehicles just left behind because the drivers had no other option but to just try to get to higher land. Florida leaders urging residents to shelter in place as long as possible. And as you can imagine, just avoid driving and even walking through the water. I mean, Greg, when you see this situation, we know we have folks who perhaps are traveling to Florida. How much longer could they be dealing with the flooded waters in this area?
I'd say a good 24 to 48 hours more worth of rainfall coming their way. Some areas have seen more than 12 to 16 inches of rain through central and eastern portions of Florida. So they're dealing with a whole completely different situation than us here back home. We are completely dry and temperatures are going to begin to climb. We're at 62. We're partly cloudy. Look at how quickly we go from 62 to 72 by 9 a.m. 72 to 80 degrees within 1 hour at 10, and 80 gets us to 90 by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're going to be hot the entire afternoon. 1 o'clock all the way through 6 or 7 p.m. will be above the 90-degree mark. Could be a good day to find a pool, some air conditioning, maybe an ice cream cone. In what month, the curious question today asks, in what month are the most ice cream cones sold in the United States? Is it June, July, August, or September? Regardless, we get 90s all of those months. We get 49 of those a year on average. I've got 7 of them coming up for you in the Code Red 7-day forecast.
Clear traffic at 6:38. A quick look outside takes us over to I-24 coming down from the Pleasant View area. This particular crash is going to affect you as you go towards Clarksville. So leaving I-24 going westbound towards Clarksville, there is where the holdup is going to be around Maxey Road. So the steer clear, you want to take Highway 41, which for the first time is showing yellow, which means quite a few people are starting to get out there on that particular path of the road. Other areas of town include over in West Nashville. This is going to be I-40 and White Bridge Road. A few trucks sleeping on the shoulder this morning. Other than that, you're good to go with a lot of sunshine out there. Make sure to use that visor or those shades.
Sunglasses for sure. Bonnaroo begins today, and while you might not be heading to Manchester, plenty of music fans from around the world make this an annual event. And that is where we find Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar, who is speaking with folks heading out to the festival. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning, Erica. That's right. Tens of thousands of people are going to be heading out to Bonnaroo today. And I'm here with Norris Haynes, who tells me he's been to every single one. Tell me some of your experiences that you've had at Bonnaroo. What makes it so special?
There's a lot of famous people been out there. Paul McCartney was there, Elton John, some of the big ones, Steppenwolf.
Right.
But I'm not too familiar with this newer generation that's out there now.
Yeah, and he's talking about, I mean, we have Post Malone, Megan Thee Stallion, we do have Chris, Red Hot Chili Peppers, but of course he was a big fan of the previous artist, so he would go. And he also told me that you were working for the sheriff's office as a deputy. Reserve. You're reserve deputy. And what was that experience like, just managing the crowds and things of that nature?
All the people out there were nice, friendly, didn't have much trouble out of anybody, you know.
What do you think? What do you think it means to have Bonnaroo be held in Manchester? I know that's kind of the normal thing, but what does it mean for Tennessee?
Well, it's helping all the motels and restaurants around here, bringing in a lot of income.
Right.
And gas stations.
Awesome.
Yep.
Did you have a lot of fun?
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay, great. Well, I mean, this is a really
I'm old, but it's still
no,
fun.
of course. I mean, who is not going to be a music fan? So even if he's not going this year, I'm sure he had a really great experience from what we've heard from previous years. So, I mean, if you are watching this and you haven't bought your tickets to Bonnaroo, you should, because you might be interested in some of the genres that are playing over the weekend. We're sending it back to you, Erica.
All right, Karen, thank you so much. Bonnaroo brings folks of all ages. It's a good time. Coming up, as false information is spreading online, why fake female... Let's talk about politics. Election years typically heighten the risk of cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns from foreign countries. But this year, those looking to meddle are using an interesting tactic to spread lies online. Fox 17 News' Ted Lindner is reporting this morning.
Intelligence experts are ramping up warnings to political campaigns and government leaders over the increased risk of foreign adversaries trying to spread disinformation online ahead of the November presidential election. An official from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence says Russia, China, Iran, and even Cuba are behind these efforts, with Russia proven to be the #1 threat.
Their effort to spread disinformation about U.S. elections, their invasion of Ukraine.
And new research is showing how these shifty players are able to mislead some people so easily.
On the internet, it pays to be female.
Foreign countries are using chatbots and fake social media accounts that pose as women to spread lies and propaganda.
Human beings are more likely to view women as warm and approachable, making it more likely that they view fake accounts as real humans.
And the mind trick is working, with fake female profiles getting more online interaction from real people than accounts with fake male personas.
The human brain remains remarkably easy to hack, thanks to age-old stereotypes about men and women.
While the goal wasn't to spread disinformation, even U.S.-based OpenAI saw the appeal of having a female voice for its programs.
When Hollywood actress Scarlett Johansson declined OpenAI's request to use her voice on one of its newest AI programs, she said the company's CEO told her her voice would be, quote, comforting to users. She threatened to sue after the company went with a voice instead that she said was eerily similar to her own.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
Ted, thank you. Hey, get this. Denmark is recalling 3 types of instant noodle products for being too spicy. Have you heard of this product before? Well, officials there say that 3 varieties of fire chicken instant ramen noodles from the brand Samyang could cause, quote, acute poisoning. The department even says the noodles contain a high dose of a spicy chemical often found in chili peppers. A spokesperson for Samyang says the recall is not because of quality issues and that this is actually the first time that the product has been facing a recall for being too spicy. Well, we've talked about spicy things that you eat, but it's also going to be pretty hot outside. So we do want to hear from you when it comes to the weather this weekend. How hot is too hot for you as the temperatures continue increasing here in Middle Tennessee? Right now, 53.5% of you all say anything above 90 degrees is too hot. Go ahead and let us know what you think, and also share your photos if you're outside this weekend enjoying the sun over on our Fox Nashville Facebook pages. I know that I asked you, Greg, earlier this morning, in your opinion, how hot is too hot?
I think my marker's about 95, honestly, because we can get a lot of low 90s that happen pretty frequently, so you can kind of get, not necessarily used to it, but when you have that many in a row, you get accustomed, I guess.
Also, you said earlier about the AC situation, when it's just not really going to help you anymore.
Yeah, the days when it's close to 100, what happens is the air conditioner is only made to work to cool down the air inside your house about 20 degrees cooler than outside. So if it's 100 outside and you've got that AC set to the low 70s and it's just not working and it's still going and it's still sitting around 80, that's why. It's not meant to work in those
the more you know.
really hot temperatures. But what always works in really hot temperatures, good old-fashioned ice cream cone.
Yes.
So here's our curious question. In what month are the most ice cream cones sold in the United States? June, July, August, or September?
D.
You're going to go with September. And you were close. It's August. Not snow cones, ice cream cones, although I'm sure snow cones get a hefty one there too, are sold in the U.S. in the month of August. You may want one of those the next couple of days. You're 93 degrees this afternoon. Not breaking a record, but still hot for this date. 95 degrees on your Friday, 94 for Saturday, and then 99 on Sunday. That number, I don't believe, hits 100, but we're going to be really close in the Nashville area. Here's how today works. This is the Nashville high temperature. You got to the Cumberland Plateau. You'll be in the middle to upper 80s. Many surrounding areas will be in the upper 80s to potentially hitting the low 90s as well. Let's talk Father's Day. We just mentioned it's going to be 100 in Nashville, possibly. 99 is the forecast. Last 3 years, 87 degrees last year, 89 back in 2022, and 93 degrees back in 2021. So we're not necessarily in rare air when it comes to really aggressive temperatures. It's just typically not this hot, although it will be our 4th one in a row with no rain on Dad's Day. Taking a look here, 95, 94, 99 takes us through the weekend, then 96 on Monday. We're not done, folks. We go to 92 on Tuesday and 94 on Wednesday. All 7 days in the forecast will be in the 90s, and starting tomorrow night, every nighttime temperature will be in the upper 60s, if not 70s.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
An EF1 tornado whirled through a Florida community Wednesday morning. The twister sliced a 1.5 mile path through Hobe Sound, flailing branches, uprooting and knocking down trees along the way. Elsewhere, a look at Utah's Little Cottonwood Canyon, a vibrant raging river, and gorgeous cascading waterfalls outside of Salt Lake City.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Still clear traffic out there this morning. We've got an update on that crash coming down from I-24 in the Pleasant View area. We've learned from some of our traffic folks working behind the scenes that this crash did involve an 18-wheeler, and that 18-wheeler caught fire. And that's why they've got the interstate shut down as long as it has been now, since around 1:15 in the morning. So as you leave Pleasant View going towards Clarksville, that crash is right there on the shoulder near Maxey Road. Again, authorities on the scene continuing to work it. They've shut down the interstate while they conduct their investigation. We're unsure about any injuries or anything like that. We'll continue to look into things happening out there. Just know, for the time being, you're going to have to take Highway 41A. That's going to be your best bet to steer clear past the backup and the closure here on I-24 as you leave Nashville going towards Clarksville. And I just want to point out one other thing. I have changed our signage here. In this particular case, it says Nashville to Clarksville. That is what's 71 minutes going from Nashville towards Clarksville on I-24 West.
Well, a group of 8 former SpaceX employees are now taking CEO Elon Musk to court. In a lawsuit filed over in California, the former employees say they were illegally fired for raising concerns about gender discrimination and sexual harassment. The suit accuses Musk of harassing women and using sexual banter in the workplace. The group says they wrote an open letter back in 2022 voicing their concerns, which was signed by more than 400 other employees. The lawsuit says Musk then personally ordered the terminations. In music headlines, the National Music Publishers Association filed a complaint against Spotify to the Federal Trade Commission. Spotify's premium subscription plan bundles music and 15 hours of audiobooks. The streaming services also announced price increases, but the trade group says the move means lower royalty payments to songwriters and artists, potentially impacting artists right here in Music City. Ahead, a bear takes a rest in one man's backyard hammock. While he says, hey, look, this is not unusual for his house. And coming up on Fox 17 News during our 7 o'clock hour, school is out for the summer, but some 3rd graders are going to have to repeat the grade next before moving on. Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse taking us through what the law could mean when it comes to holding children back.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting.
Good morning. Are you ready for some sunshine and some intense temperatures this Thursday? Yeah, we are starting a very long, hot streak for the Father's Day weekend. Folks, over at Bonnaroo, though, a lot of people in town. We're going to have some live updates and, of course, talk about your full forecast and the air quality alert that's in effect. Our Code Red meteorologist, Greg Bobus, is going to explain that one in just a couple of minutes. In your community, though, the Franklin Farmers Market plans to relocate, but they say they need a big chunk of change to finance the new setup. Well, it's currently located, if you're not familiar, at the factory at Franklin. Okay, that's right here. But the market organizers are now telling Fox 17 News and posting on their website that the market will eventually move a mile away to the campus of Franklin First United Methodist Church. Organizers say that this particular new location will triple parking and allow them to build a larger pavilion for all the vendors. But the group wants to raise $4 million to make that new pavilion happen. They're hoping to make this move by 2025. Well, just a hammock, hanging out in a backyard with a bear laying on it. A man in Vermont recording a bear in his backyard hanging out on a hammock. This happened Tuesday over in that town of Wattsfield. That's where that area is called. The bear in the hammock was one of two bears, the homeowner says, in his backyard. Not just one, but two bears. The homeowner says it's not out of the ordinary. He has seen plenty of bears in his backyard, but this was the first time that the bear decided to go ahead and get some Z's. Chilling in the backyard, just laying on a hammock. Okay, Greg, you open your back door and you see two bears. One's hanging out in the hammock. What are you going to do?
Closing my back door.
What, you're not going to get video? We got to get the video.
No, I'm closing my back door.
Okay.
No, thank you. I'll look through the window. I'll go back inside. That's what I'll do. Taking a look right here, though, if this little one walked up to my door with her owner, Betty, I'd be like, hi, Sable, how you doing today? This is our teacup Yorkie dog of the day, sent in again by Betty. And this is going to be a day where the earlier you dog walk, the better everyone's going to be, including your dogs themselves, because this is going to be very hot very quick. There's no way around it. 63 degrees will be our temperature here going into our 7 o'clock half hour, 75 degrees by 9 o'clock, and then already 80 degrees at 9. From 1 p.m. through 6 p.m. we'll be at or above the 90-degree mark in the Nashville area. You get away from Nashville, we'll still be well into the mid to upper 80s through 6 and 7 p.m. Keep that in mind. One more thing to keep in mind. A lot of us like taking our doggos, kids for rides. Maybe that you're a new parent, you're a new first-time dog owner, and you just aren't used to leaving living things inside of your car. You don't know how it gets. It gets up to about 130 degrees when we have temperatures right near 90 degrees. So these are a lot of things a lot of us already know. Most of us already know, but just a little refresher course on a couple of little things to keep everyone safe and good to go in a long stretch of 90-degree heat that we're going to have here. Send us your Dog of the Day photos by going to Facebook, meteorologist Greg Bobus, and find that pinned post. Coming up on our 7 o'clock half hour, we're going to look ahead to not only 7 straight days of 90-degree temperatures, but it could be an even longer stretch. My first thoughts on that coming up in a few minutes.
Greg, thank you. We do want to make sure we have a steer clear traffic update for you regarding the crash coming down from I-24 in the Pleasant View area. So we do understand the crash is involving an 18-wheeler that caught on fire. The interstate been shut down since 1:15 this morning, so it's been a long time. Crews still out there trying to clean up. This comes as you leave Nashville going towards Clarksville, so the best way to steer clear is going to be Highway 41A. We'll have some more updates from our traffic anchor, Justin McFarland, in just a couple of minutes. NFL legendary quarterback Tom Brady has now been inducted into the New England Patriots Hall of Fame. The ceremony was last night, and the first time that a Patriots player has been honored with a ceremony inside the stadium. His jersey number 12 has also now been retired. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is waiving day use fees at more than 2,800 of their recreation areas on both June 16th and also June 19th. This is because of their observance of the Army Corps of Engineers birthday on the 16th and also Juneteenth, National Independence Day on the 19th. The waiver covers fees for the boat launch ramp and then swimming beaches at recreation areas at Tennessee lakes, including Cheatham Lake, Percy Priest Lake, Cordell Hull Lake, Center Hill Lake, and then also Old Hickory Lake. Do keep in mind, though, normal fees are going to be charged on the 17th and 18th. If you want to check out some more information and for that full list of areas here in Middle Tennessee that are participating, go to fox17.com. And talking about our website, we do want to do a quick check to see what's trending over on our website, and it's all about Bonnaroo. In fact, we have our Fox 17 News reporter Karen Aguilar out there speaking with folks who are camping out in Manchester for this 4-day music festival, who say they make this an annual event for them. We're talking about more than 65,000 music fans in Manchester for this event, a lot of traffic, but also a lot of business. So we're going to have some more updates. Stay with us. Our 7 o'clock hour is starting right now.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Good morning. Here we are at 7 o'clock, and we are waking up to a heat wave. More than 7 days worth of 90-degree temperatures and one near 100 degrees. We're going to look through all of it coming up in the forecast.
We're also going to have an update on last night's shooting in Madison. We now know that a teenager has died. We've got the latest information on who that is and what police are doing next. Plus, we're watching your traffic this morning. No problems here on Vietnam Vents. Our biggest issue is coming down from Pleasant View. We're going to take you there coming up in a few.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 17 News this Thursday morning. I'm Erica Glover.
And I am Justin McFarland. Fox 17 News, your only live and local news source with you from 7 until 9. Jen Waddell does have this Thursday off.
Well, new this Thursday morning, we are now getting some more updates, and we understand a 16-year-old shot during a fight yesterday afternoon has unfortunately died.
Metro Police say 2 groups of teenagers plan to meet up at a park in Madison to try and settle some type of argument they were having. Well, that situation escalated quickly, and police say 2 teenagers began to shoot at each other. Police say that Justin Robinson was one who was hit in the chest. He died at a hospital late last night. Investigators are still looking for some of the other teens who ran off after the shooting.
Well, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell releasing a statement writing, quote, "We mourn the loss of another teenager to gun violence, this time in Madison. I am grateful to our first responders, our park staff, and witnesses who assisted the victim and kept others safe. There's no single answer," he writes, "but we have many partners committed to improving safety for our young people. If you want to catch up on previous coverage regarding this disturbing growing trend of teenage crime and similar stories, visit fox17.com.
For now, let's check in on your forecast with temperatures headed towards 90. Here's Greg.
That they are. Not necessarily for everyone, but the Nashville area specifically going to hit 90 or above 7 days in a row at least. Heat is taking over the forecast for everyone. Cumberland Plateau, mid to upper 80s today. A few other surrounding areas, mid to upper 80s. So everyone's going to be hotter, and everyone's going to see it get even worse getting into the weekend. Limited rain chances. We could use a little bit of rain to break up this heat, and we're not going to get any until after the weekend. And what's new this morning, well, with this new weather pattern also comes not so great air quality because we haven't had a breeze in so long. We have this stagnant, oppressive air over some of our more populated areas, which includes Davidson County and Nashville, which means all the kiddos, all of our older friends and family and relatives and neighbors, just check on them, make sure we're good. Limit our time outside if we can. If you have respiratory issues like I do, use an inhaler. I've got mine on me. I just grab it in case. And just, again, find some time to take some breaks if you've got to be outside and exerting yourself. We'll be in the 90s as soon as 1 o'clock later on this afternoon. We're all clear when it comes to code red. It's not dangerous heat yet. There is one day in the weekend where we may have to go code red for heat index values, and that is right there in the middle of your screen. Father's Day could be up to near 100 degrees. A lot more to talk about when it comes to this heat and its impact towards your weekend coming up in a few minutes.
Let's get to your steer clear traffic here at I-40 at Spence Lane as you make that drive into town from the east side. A bit of a slow go there starting to develop on I-40 as you come on in from Donaldson, from Hermitage, parts of East Nashville. The slowdown is just congestion out there, that's all, but we're doing okay overall. The biggest problem we've got going on is coming down from Pleasant View. Pleasant View is where we're dealing with a bit of a slowdown because of a crash involving an 18-wheeler that caught fire earlier this morning. Police are on the scene dealing with that. This is as you leave Pleasant View going towards Clarksville near Maxey Road. Right now they're asking that you try to take 41A, Highway 41A right there as the best way to try and steer clear.
All right, let's talk about music. Today marks the first day of the Music and Arts Festival called Bonnaroo over in Manchester. It's about an hour or so southeast of Nashville. Now, some of the headliners, maybe you're not familiar with them, but I'm going to share their names. Jason Isbell, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Post Malone, Megan Thee Stallion. The man we met earlier, he was like, who? But listen, more than 65,000 people are expected to make their way to the farm. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar is joining us live from Manchester, explaining all that's happening right behind you. Karen, that made me laugh when that man was like, who are you talking about? I don't know some of these new artists.
Yeah, that made me laugh too. And that's one of the reasons he says he didn't go to this year's Bonnaroo, but he tells me that he's been to all the Bonnaroos that have ever been in existence. But that's not a reason to not go. Going to Bonnaroo is more than just listening to music. It's about building a community of people that enjoy the same things. And as you mentioned, there are going to be some headliners, but there are also going to be food vendors for people that like a lot of variety of food, listening to music at the same time. There's even several vegan options. I'm vegan myself. So the options are limitless. And listen, we hear about a lot of people going to Bonnaroo, getting their drink on, but there is also a booth for people who want to stay sober. It's called Soberoo. So there's a ton of different options for you to go there, and it's a 4-day festival. A 1-day pass, general admission, is a little under $200. And for people who say, that's a lot of money, think about how much money you spend to watch one artist at one concert. Taylor Swift tickets are crazy. So for the price of a little under $200 for a 1-day general admission pass, you can see multiple artists, and that includes some of the people that you mentioned, like Post Malone, Megan Thee Stallion, also Carly Rae Jepsen, Red Hot Chili Peppers, all of these great artists that you can see for, in my opinion, not a really big price. And so if you are still interested in heading out to come to Bonnaroo and join the fun, tickets are available online. Reporting live here in Manchester, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you. It's such a big boom for business owners, too. Just ahead, we have some more details on a Tennessee trio arrested for terrorizing one community.
Also coming up, we've got the very latest with your steer clear traffic as we're following a big slowdown coming in from Pleasant View. Plus, Greg Wilbus will be back with a look at your forecast as we got temperatures headed towards the 90s. We'll be right back.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are partnering with Feeding America for our
7:09 is the time. The Murfreesboro Fire Department says they've lost millions of dollars over the past 5 years. It's because they are training firefighters who simply will not stay on the job. Now, some of those firefighters leave for better paying jobs as firefighters in other departments, but others are leaving simply because they were just trying the job out to see if they liked it, and then once they figured out they didn't, they just left. Well, all of this is costing the city of Murfreesboro millions of dollars.
In the last 5 years since it started, we have lost, I think it was 168 people. Some of those were retirees, but actually there was 121 new recruits. Basically, when I say a new recruit, I'm talking from 2 to 3 years, get their training and walk out the door.
Our most valuable resources are people, and to lose 121 people, what's the cost of that to us as a city and the taxpayers?
When you start figuring in
15 million, 20 million.
I had a roughly figured about
125,000 to train one firefighter.
Yeah, it roughly figures out to about $15.5 million that we lost on training those individuals.
$15.5 million. Now, how are they trying to keep firefighters? Well, the Murfreesboro Fire Department says that they're working with the city council. Right now, they're looking at a 4% increase now for firefighters and other departments there as well. They're also thinking about having brand new recruits sign something that says they're going to stay with the department for a certain amount of time after training to see if they can hold on to some of the people that they train.
So ask them.
Continuing coverage in Operation Crime and Justice, we are learning more about what led up to a particular incident over in East Tennessee. That's where 3 people were arrested in Madison County, North Carolina. Now, authorities say they were renting an Airbnb to terrorize the community. The Madison County Sheriff's Office, again, this is over in North Carolina, says that 3 people are from Elizabethton, that is right over in East Tennessee, next to the Tri-Cities, next to Johnson City to be exact. The sheriff says that he watched several videos of the trio's home and car break-ins around that area. As they rented that Airbnb, they learned that the trio struck early in the morning. So he says that he switched all detectives to late at night to track down the suspects. We are told that they were arrested at a gas station last Wednesday. The sheriff says that the 3 suspects in a string of crimes in Tennessee as well. But right now they're being held over in the Madison County Jail, again in North Carolina.
Coming up in your COVID forecast, your screen says it all. The next weather maker is impending heat that will last more than just a day or two, more than just a weekend. How long our heat wave will stick with us coming up in just a few minutes.
Steer clear traffic takes us to a red line in the middle of your screen. That's I-24 in Pleasant View, where we have got a serious traffic tie-up. We'll tell you why. Also coming up, an update. 7:14 is the time. We've got continuing coverage right now on the death of a 23-month-old named Ariel Rose. Now, Ariel died from fentanyl toxicity back on November of 2022.
2 people have been arrested in connection with her death, but there is also a civil lawsuit. So for more details, Fox 17 News' investigative reporter Amanda Chin has the very latest. Excuse me.
Good morning, guys. Well, we know that Ariel Rose's grandfather wants to hold the nonprofit running the facility accountable. But new evidence submitted reveals details about other entities potentially involved at the location where Ariel died. Now, attorneys for Ariel's grandfather, Mickey Rose, are now potentially pointing fingers at Kingdom Group in this lawsuit. Kingdom Group is a developer company focused on breaking cycles of poverty and assisting faith-based institutions. Back in February of 2023, the group confirmed to me they owned the building where Ariel died, although in their most recent filing, they claimed they do not. Emails submitted by Mickey's attorneys show a woman emailing Kingdom Group back in March of 2022, asking about the death of her brother. Her email states in part, "I don't believe that enough was done to prevent his death, and I believe this is just the beginning of problems for this facility. Keep in mind, my investigation last August revealed that drug-related death and another death at this housing facility months before Ariel died."
What has Kingdom Group said about the sisters' concerns then?
Yeah, so I have reached out to Kingdom Group and I'm waiting to actually hear back from the owner. However, last February, they seem to be putting all of their responsibility on Community Care Fellowship, the nonprofit that ran this housing facility. Now, a lawyer for the company at the time told me they have no involvement in CCF's management of the program, and I know that they are really trying to refrain from being officially named in this lawsuit.
All right, Amanda Chin, I know you've been following this story for, it feels like close to a year at this point. So thank you so much for your hard work with this latest update.
In Operation Crime and Justice, a woman is now facing charges after police say she threatened a security guard with a knife. It all happened at a WeGo bus station.
Police say that the security guard told police that Brandy Jennings threatened her with a knife. Police say the security footage shows Jennings taking the knife from another person at the bus station. It started recording the security guard with her phone as she waved that knife at the guard. This comes after several acts of violence at the WeGo bus stations and other properties over the past month or so.
7:17 is the time. Greg, I gotta ask you a question. I know there's a lot of heat out there, but what about the pollen count? I still have all the allergies.
Yeah, all the allergies are there, but it depends what kind of allergies you have. Grass, juniper, stuff like that, oak trees, all of those things are starting to actually, give us more of a pollen influence than things we had earlier in the season. So the counts aren't necessarily as high, but the allergens have shifted a little over the last 2 weeks. So absolutely, I mean, if those are what get to you, you're going to feel it now more than you did even earlier in the year. You're going to feel the heat no matter who you are, though. It's 67 right now in Nashville. Temperature going to be right near the 90-degree mark, if not above that later today. And it's the old cliche, what do I wear when I get out the door? Well, some weeks it makes sense to talk about it every day because the wardrobe changes. This, whatever's going to keep you cool in the 90s for the next 14 days. Whatever that is. Open the door and just find whatever's light and comfortable, and you should be at least better prepared than some folks that might not know what's coming their way. Out the door right now, 67 takes you to 72 already at 9 o'clock, 80 degrees. Yeah, that'll be a temperature by 10. That was our high temperature at the beginning of the week. Tells you where we're going. Maybe you're taking that truck, heading to work, coming back later on, going to give it a nice little car wash. Well, what I'll tell you is you can do it. If you're going to do it by hand, though, you can be hot. It's going to be in the 90s from 1 o'clock all the way through 6 p.m. No rain whatsoever this week, though, so any car washing you do, maximizing your return on the investment of time or money. Taking a look here, AC on, obviously, all week long. But on Sunday, we'll be near 100 degrees. If your AC is usually set down to maybe right near the low 70s, but your thermostat's in the upper 70s on Sunday, it's because your air conditioner only cools you down 20 degrees cooler than what it is outside. It's not broken, just doing the best it can. Look at that. Blue sky, a little hazy. Air quality alert for today, which means that when you're outside, if you have respiratory issues, if we're really young or we're a little older, it could be a little harder to breathe. And here's your pollen count, Erica, as I mentioned. Low, medium low when it comes to those allergens, juniper, oak, and grasses. It's not terrible, but definitely, if those get to you, you're going to feel it. Coming up in a few, we'll look at your 7-day forecast.
Steer clear traffic at 7:19. A quick look here at what we're dealing with at I-40 at Spence Lane. As you make that push in from the east side, things are a little bit slow out there this morning. We were dealing with some reports of a disabled vehicle in this location. Haven't quite seen it yet, but we'll continue to keep an eye on it. The biggest problem this morning by far has been the problem coming in out of the Pleasant View area. That is where we've got a crash involving an 18-wheeler that caught fire earlier this morning around 1:15. This was on I-24 near Maxey Road as you go towards Clarksville. So that drive time from Nashville into Clarksville on 24 West is around 71 minutes right now. You want to take Highway 41, runs right alongside. Is the best way to steer clear. Well, coming up, we've got an update on a shooting that critically hurt 5 people in Memphis. We're going to tell you about the 2 young men who are facing charges.
A disturbing story right now in Operation Crime and Justice. A woman convicted of killing her twin babies in Hendersonville is now back in custody after the state attorney general revoked her bond.
Lindsay Lowe is her name. She was serving a life sentence at one point for the double murder of her infant sons back in 2011. Nearly 2 years ago, Lowe was granted a new trial after her attorneys argued that she didn't get a fair trial because of bias there in the jury. Well, a judge agreed, and Lowe's conviction was later overturned, and she was set free.
On Friday, Lowe was rearrested, though, and booked in the Sumner County Jail before being set free on bond. Well, Tuesday, the court granted a motion filed by the state of Tennessee to revoke Lowe's bond. Lowe is now serving the remainder of her life sentence.
An update this morning out of the city of Memphis. That's where 2 suspects are currently in custody after a shooting that took place on a Memphis interstate that left 1 man and 4 young children in critical condition.
Children. The man on your screen, 21-year-old Kendrick Ray, is one of 2 suspects in the shooting. Police say he and 18-year-old Lorenzo Watson fired at 5 victims, again involving children, while driving on the interstate during rush hour. This happened Tuesday afternoon.
Wow, Interstate 240 there in Memphis. Officials say they led police on a chase and crashed a stolen car before being taken into custody. Both suspects are now facing multiple charges, including attempted first-degree murder as well as evading arrest. We'll continue to follow this story.
We're going to check in now with our Code Red meteorologist. We're trying to get ready for the heat.
Yeah, and not just heat wave. We're talking multiple days in a row, if not more than a week worth of 90-degree heat, and that includes down in Manchester for Bonnaroo. We've been talking about it all morning long. Everything kicking off today, 90 degrees, the high temperature, 92 tomorrow, 94 on Saturday, and 97 on Sunday. What's really going to be oppressive is the nighttime temperature doesn't get below 70 most of the upcoming weekend, and this really is a camping event. A lot of folks going to be outside the entire time here with sunshine, heat, and not a drop of rain coming down. So the only one who's heading out, maybe they haven't checked the forecast, and they think that earlier this week is how it's going to be for the rest of the week into the weekend. Not even close. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, we're not done. These are the Nashville high temperatures. 93 later on today, 95 tomorrow, 94 on Saturday. That 99 on Sunday, I keep saying it, could be near record territory on Father's Day. Go figure. Very hot. And the humidity will pick up a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if the heat index makes us feel like we're between 100 and 105 degrees on Father's Day.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning at 7:26. A quick look here at I-24. This is over in the Hickory Hollow Parkway area. As you make that drive into town, keep in mind traffic there looking pretty good. All things considered, we've not seen big problems coming out of Murfreesboro. The big problems have been coming out of Pleasant View. That's going towards Clarksville. That's where we continue to have an interstate shutdown near Maxey Road. It's been with us now for going on 6 hours since around 1:15 this morning. The best way to steer clear is Highway 41. 1A right there, runs right alongside the I-24 area there as you make your way towards Clarksville. That's what's important. If you're coming down from Clarksville, the interstate is clear.
Let's talk about breaking news this morning. Former President Donald Trump is going to be back on Capitol Hill today, this morning, for the first time since the January 6 riots back in 2021. In fact, we're taking a live look right here at the Capitol. Former President Trump is set to meet with House and Senate Republicans. He is also scheduled to make remarks at House and Senate campaign headquarters. Again, this is at the Capitol to talk about campaign issues. He says that includes topics like mass immigration deportations and tax cuts. We're going to have some more updates from the nation's capital in a couple of minutes.
Well, coming up, we're bringing you some of the fun and festivities coming out of Manchester. It's time for Bonnaroo. That kicks off very, very soon. We're going to have a live report.
And a mother and son facing homicide charges. We're going to explain what police say happened after some sort of argument.
Nothing dims my light like a migraine. With Nurtec ODT, I found relief.
The only migraine medication that helps treat and
both near and far for Bonnaroo. We're going to tell you what's in store for the 60,000 plus that are coming to Middle Tennessee.
And I'll tell you right now, they're going to have some heat, but so will all the rest of us. Our first heat wave of the year, how long it will last into next week, coming up in your forecast.
Steer clear traffic on the north side. 65 at Trinity Lane looks a little congested, but this is nothing compared to the problem we're dealing with in Pleasant View. We'll tell you about that coming up in a few seconds.
Do you have your fan ready for today? Your water bottle?
Yeah, water bottle for sure. You're going to need something out there. It's going to be a hot one.
Thanks so much for waking up with us here on Thursday morning. For Fox 17 News, I'm Erica Glover.
And I am Justin McFarland. Jen Waddell has this day off. Hope she's staying cool and hope you are as well, as Fox 17 News continues to tell you about the several days of heat that's coming our way. We're going to get right to Greg Bobus. He's got a look at your forecast here just to make sure you're aware. Right, Greg?
Yeah, hopefully you've taken the precautions and you've been waking up with us and we've gotten you geared up and ready to go for it, because we've known for a while that today would be the start, and it's just giving you the heads up. We can't escape the heat, but there are ways we can try to beat it and things to do certain times of the day that will work you through that might be a little more opportune than others. But here's what's new this morning: the first of 7 straight days at least at or above 90 degrees in Nashville. Now, Cumberland Plateau and a few surrounding areas outside of downtown, you'll be in the mid to upper 80s today, and then we'll all climb into the 90s tomorrow if we don't hit it today. Humidity starts to climb. You don't notice it much during the daylight hours today, but overnight tonight into tomorrow, it will begin to really be noticeable, and there's an air quality alert in effect for many of us. What that means is that our younger kids and then our older friends and neighbors and relatives have it a little bit more difficult when we're out there strenuously trying to be active. And also anyone who has a respiratory issue, maybe asthma, bad allergies, this could be a tough one as well. It even looks a little hazy, even though we have a bright blue sky here, just a couple of clouds out there. No rain until the end of the forecast. Yeah, the fan's going to be on Power Ranger mode today, going crazy. Taking a look here, 3 days. That's all we've had so far when it comes to 90-degree days. We average 49. We're going to add at least 7 more to that. Coming up, we'll look at your 7-day forecast and talk about some ways to beat the heat, just some reminders to get us into this prolonged spell of 90s.
Steer clear traffic this morning. We want to get you the latest information happening here. This is on the north side of town, I-65 at Trinity Lane. They're panning around for something, unsure what exactly. But as soon as they find it, we'll let you know here. Traffic is typical for this time of the day, though, moving in from that north side. We do want to give you the breaking news coming out of Robertson County there near Pleasant View. We had a crash around 1:15 this morning near Maxey Road on I-24 West going towards Clarksville. We just got word from the Tennessee Highway Patrol a short time ago that this crash is fatal. One person has died, and they expect the interstate to remain closed until around 9:30 to 10 o'clock this morning. We received word that there was an 18-wheeler involved in this crash that caught fire. So we'll continue to follow this and tell you you can try to take Highway 41 as the best way to steer clear.
Well, happening today, Bonnaroo is kicking off over in Manchester, and we mean thousands, tens of thousands of people are heading out there, listening to so many different genres of music, but really enjoying the experience.
And it is quite an experience as well. They're also meeting new people for sure. Let's get out to Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar, who's meeting some of those people, telling us about the experience.
Good morning. Part of that experience, as you mentioned, is meeting new people. And as a musical festival lover myself, I completely understand it. I went to Lollapalooza in Chicago, but it's not as big as Bonnaroo right here in Manchester. We're seeing several artists, if not more than Lollapalooza, including Megan Thee Stallion. She's one of my favorite. Shout out, I have to. And I'm here with Carly and Kenji, who they're preparing to go to Bonnaroo pretty shortly. So my question to you is, some of these tickets are pricey, but what's the motivation behind going to a festival like this?
Yeah, definitely not the cheapest thing in the world, but a lot of it really just has to do with the experience. I mean, you've got the music too, obviously, but the memories that you make when you're here, they're really priceless. I can honestly say that some of my happiest times were at Bonnaroo, so it makes sense.
And what about you?
I think investing in yourself requires investing in Bonnaroo because you're having fun and you're enjoying. So sometimes you work hard but play harder. Yeah.
All right, and what are you guys doing right here?
So we're getting our pregame essentials. You know, Bonnaroo is a lot of fun, but it's always a little bit more fun with some libations. So we decided to stop here and get it together before we get to the farm.
Awesome. Who are you most excited to see, ladies?
Meg Thee Stallion.
Meg it is. We're with you. Yes. All right. These are my girls right here. I completely agree with this. So, I mean, if you guys want to go to Bonnaroo, tickets are still available online. Reporting live here in Manchester, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, Karen, thank you so much for an update there. In Operation Crime and Justice, though, there is a mother and son under arrest. Metro Police say that this mother and son shot a man during an argument that happened last month.
Yes, we are going to give you the update now as police say they arrested Michelle Thornton and her son DeAndre Thornton. This happened Tuesday afternoon while they were driving on Gallatin Pike North. Police say that 2 guns were found in the car. The mother and son are both charged in the May 28th shooting with attempted criminal homicide.
At 7:36, Fox 17 News showing you a live look from Metro Center. Hey, summer is officially just 1 week away. Already feels like summer to me. Yeah, the hot weather is certainly moving into the mid-state, but along with the hot weather also comes dangerous air quality alerts.
So you need to take note as we take a live look here across our Nashville city camera. You may be able to see a slight haze there in the air. The Metro Health Department is warning people about air quality concerns for today, especially if you're sensitive with things like asthma or maybe older adults and children, and plus people working outdoors. If you gotta be outdoors today, please take some breaks and precautions and try to schedule the heavier lifting portion of your outdoor activities before the hottest part of the day.
Yeah, think about all the kids who are heading out to the pool or they have their after-school activities, you know, sports and stuff.
Yeah.
Right now, though, we're asking this question. Justin, I want to know what you think about this, too.
All right.
As the temperatures increase here in Middle Tennessee, how hot is too hot to you?
How hot is too hot?
Yeah, when does it get too hot?
Well, anything above 90, I would agree with that. Anything above 90, even 80, you know, 80s is a nice place, but there's a difference here in Middle Tennessee between 83 and 88.
Yeah.
You know, it's 5 degrees, but it's a massive difference, okay? So anything above 90, yeah, it's
my whole temperature has changed since having a child. So for me, anything higher than 80.
Well, you have different considerations.
Yes, because I got to take the stroller and I got to do all the baby things. So,
of course. No. Well, and then here in Middle Tennessee, to your point, there's a difference between 80 degrees and 80 in humidity, or 90 degrees and 90 in humidity.
My hair can attest to that.
Sometimes the number doesn't tell the whole story. That's how it works here when you're this far down south. Taking a look at the forecast, yes, air quality alert. We have not had a breeze for days, so the air is stagnant. And then when you get toward the more populated areas, if you can't get a lot of those allergens, not just that, but also some of the pollutants out of the air, then you start working yourself into that respiratory situation. What we're going to see here for many people later on this afternoon. I moved the arrow up from pleasant to a little bit humid from yesterday to today. You'll notice a little tinge of it. Like we said, the more humidity there is, the worse that 90-degree temperature is going to feel, and it's going to only climb going into the upcoming weekend. This is also climbing. Everything's going up. The UV index has gone up to the point to where you get a sunburn if your skin's not covered with something, whether it be sunscreen, clothing, the whole nine. Within 15 minutes, you start getting a burn. So if you're out at the pool, it's a good day for a pool. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if you got a body of water to get to, it's perfect, but just keep that burn mind or that burn time on the back of your mind. 90 degrees at 2 o'clock, 90 degrees at 5 p.m., sunny the entire day. We are just getting started. So all of our precautions we're telling you about wearing the loose clothing and stuff, we're not going to be telling you that every day. We're telling you that today because that's going to be the theme for the next 7 to 10 days to beat the heat.
Steer clear traffic this morning at 7:41. Want to give you an update about situations happening on the road. That includes here at 65 at Trinity Lane there on the north side. Traffic is moving along pretty well, despite the fact we've got some congestion building in as you make that drive down from the north side of town. Madison, Goodlettsville, Hendersonville, Whites Creek, Jolton, places like that. We're still dealing with that interstate closure at I-24. This is going to be with us until at least 9:30 to 10 o'clock this morning. Right around Maxey Road, we understand that's where THP is investigating a deadly accident.
Well, Fox 17 News is taking you to space. Kind of. A mid-state astronaut speaking with mid-state students, okay, while on board the International Space Station. It's pretty cool, don't miss.
There's no preparation really that you can do for a standardized test like this. You either know the material or you don't, and it depends on how you test.
Crisis in the classroom this morning. School is out for the summer, and that means Tennessee's standardized testing scores should be coming out very soon.
Based on those results, some third graders, though, may have to repeat third grade before being able to move on to the fourth grade.
Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse live for us this morning in North Nashville with more on the impact of the third grade retention law. Peyton?
Yeah, the law is designed to make sure that kids are reading at an appropriate grade level and have the necessary building blocks in order to be a successful reader and move on to the fourth grade. Now, the state is able to judge that based on TCAP scores. And how many kids will be held back? Well, the state says they're scheduled to release the numbers and that data today, but it could be delayed.
If third graders' scores do not meet or exceed expectations for the English language arts portion of TCAP, they're at risk of repeating third grade. The state lays out opportunities to get students' reading levels up again. They can go to summer school, get tutoring, or retake the ELA portion of the test. J.C. Bowman with Professional Educators of Tennessee says the retention numbers can impact schools and teachers. Some districts may need more resources, but Bowman wants to make this clear. If a student does not pass the test, it doesn't mean they can't read. It means they need help before going forward.
If you can read on grade level by end of grade 3, then it means that you can go on to be successful and really read on grade level moving forward.
But a lot of the times, these kids have already built their social network. They've made their friends, they've learned social skills, and it's really hard and embarrassing for them to be held back.
Most experts will tell you, let's retain them earlier, like kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, rather than by third and fourth grade.
This is another aspect of the law he believes needs to be considered.
And we'll be sure to keep you posted when those numbers and that data comes out on retention and how many third graders will be repeating third grade before moving on to fourth grade. And once we get that data, we'll dig into it and we'll be able to ask the state and districts those tough questions. Reporting live in Nashville, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, Peyton, thank you so much. Well, after a series of failed launches, NASA astronaut and Mount Juliet native Butch Wilmore finally made it into space on Boeing's Starliner spacecraft. Happened just last week.
He's busy, but Wilmore took a few minutes out of his day running tests aboard the International Space Station Tuesday to answer some inquisitive questions from students right here in Middle Tennessee.
I'm Daniel from Bloomington Springs, and I'd like to know what inspired you to become an astronaut?
Daniel, I tell you, there's a lot of things that inspired me. But first, before I get into the question, I just want to welcome everybody aboard the International Space Station. I'm not the boss up here, but it doesn't matter. I declared it was Tennessee Day and Tennessee Tech Day. So we're Tennessee colors of the flag, and we're Tennessee Tech colors, purple and gold. And that's why we're dressed this way. I'm going to have a couple of guests come in and help me answer some questions as well. But for your question, Daniel, what inspired me? Many things, many individuals. The good Lord gave me a inquisitive nature. Why, I think my mom said was my first word. Not mom or dad, but why. And so I've always been inquisitive and just trying to, kind of that mindset of exploration and how far can you go, how fast can you go, and that's just from day one, just a building block, and then eventually into school, inquisitive of how things work there as well. So that's the main thing. Many, many individuals and just the way the good Lord kind of wired me.
Can they keep the Tennessee flag in space?
Well, do they want to is the question. Yes, they can, but you know, they may be from other states somewhere else. NASA and Boeing say they expect to bring Starliner and its crew, and perhaps the flag too, back to Earth as soon as Tuesday.
I want to get a Vols flag up there too. I'm just saying.
They're Tennessee Tech people. I don't think they.
Well, I'm just the next time people go up.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know if they like it like that.
Taking a look here, something we can all agree that we love, as every morning when we share our dog of the day. We got Sable here, Teacup Yorkie, sent in by Betty. Betty, when we're outside later today, we know the drill here. If you've had Sable for a little while, just trying to get outside, it's the quick ins and outs. It's the early and late dog walks. We're down to that now. We'll have to get used to it. This is the first of many days in a row we're going to be hot. We're at 72 by the time 9 o'clock rolls around. Right now, we're still holding on to some 60s. 80 degrees by 10. 80 already by 10 o'clock, 84 at 11. We'll hit 90 right around 1 o'clock this afternoon. And we're going to have temperatures that are close to 95 degrees all weekend long and out of the weekend into Monday. What does that mean for the dog walking? Well, think about it. If you maybe got some sandals on, you take them off for a second, you're on the sidewalk, and you're kind of bouncing around. Sidewalk temperature gets to 125 really quickly. Blacktop up about 140. At that point, paws can burn after about a minute. So if you see your dog's doing a little dance there or they're walking a little more quickly, just find some grass. It'll help you out, and it'll save a lot of headache and potential vet bills. Those are expensive. Taking a look here. How do you send your dog of the day? And you go to Facebook, meteorologist Greg Bobus, you find that post right there. That's how you send your dogs into us. Taking a look here. Here's your forecasts. We're gearing up for it. It's here. 93 this afternoon, 95 tomorrow, 94 degrees on Saturday, 99 near record on Sunday for Dad's Day. On Father's Day, we're talking about a new record-breaking temperature that was set back in 1952 at 100 degrees. So we're going to be really close to that territory.
Let's get to your steer clear traffic this morning if we can. There we are on I-40 near Fester's Lane, just east of downtown as you make that drive in. We're doing pretty well. No big problems out there on the interstates, at least not here in Metro Nashville. The biggest issue we're facing is elsewhere. That is out near the Pleasant View area. We've been dealing with a crash out there since 1:15 in the morning that has shut down the interstates right at Maxey Road, going I-24 west, going towards Clarksville. It is shut down because of a deadly crash involving an 18-wheeler. So heads up in that area. Police say they'll be shut down at least until 9:30 to 10 o'clock this morning. What you can do instead is use Highway 41. They've got detours set up. Follow the police instruction if you're there in that area.
Coming up, Fox 17 News has continuing coverage of Bonnaroo this weekend, and MTSU faculty and staff, well, they have a vital role in making music magic. We're going to explain.
Thanks for waking up with us. 7:54 is the time in your community. This weekend is the 4th annual Bridge to Broadway Juneteenth Block Party that's going to be kicking off.
Yeah, it's part of the National Museum of African American Music's Black Music Month celebrations. The Bridge to Broadway Block Party is happening Sunday, Father's Day, over on Broadway between 5th and 6th Avenue. So if you're visiting, maybe you're not familiar with this area, that is right in front of Bridgestone Arena.
Yeah, it's going to be hot, okay? So hydrate. If you're going to go out, it is free. They're going to have music and vendors from the Nashville Black Market, and it runs until 8 p.m. Again, the event is free, open to the public, but again, that warning. Cannot overemphasize enough, it's going to be hot, possibly a high of 99 or so. On Sunday.
But enjoy. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is waiving day use fees at more than 2,800 of their recreation areas. It's going to be happening on June 16th and also June 19th.
Now, this is because the Army Corps of Engineers is celebrating their birthday on June the 16th, as well as the Juneteenth National Independence Day on the 19th. The waiver covers fees for boat ramp launching, as well as swimming beaches at recreation areas in Tennessee lakes, including over at Cheatham Lake, Percy Priest Lake, Cordell Hall Lake, and the Center Hill Lake and Old Hickory Lakes as well. We got a lot of lakes.
Yeah.
Normal fees will be charged on the 17th and 18th. So it's just the 16th and 19th where the fees are waived, not through the 16th through the 19th. It's just on those days.
And please be safe when out there boating.
Ooh, yes.
Check this out. Students and faculty members from Middle Tennessee State University's College of Media and Entertainment, well, they're busy before the Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival. They're getting ready to handle television production duties for 53 live concerts for this 4-day event.
this is so much work. Now, MTSU has partnered up with Bonnaroo since 2015, but never on this level before. They will be working 14.5-hour days. Sounds like something that people in college need to do. 4 days for sure, providing camera and audio work for Hulu's live television streaming of a couple of shows on the 2 days of the festival, on the 5 stages that they'll have. Now, that's 40% of all the Bonnaroo performances that they're going to be able to air on Hulu. 32 students from 2 different classes will fill all of their television production roles for those shows, including roles like directing, camera, as well as audio and control room, including 10 cameras for both states. These are high-profile, big responsibility jobs. So good luck to the kids out there at MTSU.
So you're saying no pressure?
No pressure. They'll fine. They'll be fine.
Oh yeah, no pressure at all, and then you can actually see their hard work. If you're watching on Hulu, you can see them in action. Everything you see they're doing for you. Taking a look here. We're trying to work you through a forecast here of maybe if you are going to Bonnaroo or you have people that are coming into town, you got friends that are going, it's going to be hot. Check in on them, or just check in on yourself. Make sure you're doing all the right things. 90 degrees for today, 92 in Manchester tomorrow, 94 on Saturday, and 97 degrees for Sunday. We know it's a day and nighttime event. There are a lot of after hours things that happen in terms of different events you can do. This is where it gets a little more interesting. Nighttime temperatures don't cool back down to the 50s and low 60s like we've been accustomed to so far this week and most of the last 2 weeks. Now we're talking a little more humid and also staying in the 70s for the majority of the time. So that means we have no rain, we have tons of sun, we have highs in the 90s, and lows don't get comfortably cool. So take it easy if you can and just make sure that we're using all the precautions we can if we're heading out. Taking a look today, 93, the heat finally takes over. Been talking about it for a few days now, and this is that day. Low humidity for today, just a touch, but that's when it's going to really be felt here, mainly Saturday into Sunday.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Let's get a quick look outside at what we're dealing with here at I-65 at Moores Lane. This is down in the Franklin area. As you can see there, traffic moving along really well. No big problems out there in Williamson County this morning. Exactly what we like to see for this time of the day. We're still watching that crash, though, in the Pleasant View area. I-24 at Maxey Road. That's where we are dealing with an 18-wheeler that caught fire after a crash earlier this morning. One person did die. Police say that the interstate will be closed at least until 9:30 this morning, so you want to take Highway 41A to steer clear.
And talking about driving, we also want to check out what's trending over on Fox17.com. We've been out there covering Bonnaroo and Manchester since, 4 o'clock this morning. I do want to point out, Justin, you've covered it in years past.
Yes.
The folks that travel from near and far.
Absolutely.
To get involved.
I've met people who've driven here from across the country all night long, packed in the cars just to get to Bonnaroo. No question about it. So we're looking forward to talking to more of those folks. And what I found interesting is, Waffle House is not everywhere across the country.
It's hard to imagine, but you're right.
Some people were thrilled to see a Waffle House in Manchester.
Those hash browns are good.
Because they say, we don't have one where I'm from. So they were pulling in, go to Waffle House there. Just saying. It's kind of a big deal to those folks. 8 o'clock hour starts right now.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
8 o'clock is the time. Fox 17 News. We are live in Manchester, where Bonnaroo is beginning today.
Live at the Waffle House.
Yeah, we got some interviews with folks out there enjoying.
And the forecast, bringing the heat for everyone now. We are all in this together, and we'll see how long that is going to last, and just some ways to take some precautions with near record-breaking heat this weekend.
We also have an update on a shooting that happened overnight in Madison. We now know that one teenager has died. We've got reaction from the mayor and others.
We have a lot to get to, but we do want to start by saying thank you for joining us here on a Thursday morning. For Fox 17 News, I'm Erica Glover.
And I am Justin McFarland. Jim Waddell has this Thursday off. Fox 17 News got you covered live from 7 until 9 with your local news headlines like this one, the developing story from Madison. We now know that a 16-year-old was shot during a fight. Happened yesterday afternoon. The 16-year-old has died.
Metro Police say 2 groups of teenagers, they plan to meet up in a Madison park to settle some sort of argument. Well, the situation escalated. Police say that's when 2 of the teens began firing shots at each other. They say Justin Robinson was rushed to the hospital after being shot in the chest, and he died overnight.
Investigators are still looking for some of the other teens who took off running from the scene soon after the shooting took place. So we'll continue to follow that. In the meantime, we're getting reaction from Nashville's Mayor Freddie O'Connell. He released a statement on social media saying, quote, "We mourn the loss of another teenager to gun violence, this time in Madison. I am grateful to our first responders, park staff, and witnesses who assisted the victim and kept others safe. There's no single answer, but we have many partners committed to improving safety for our young people." Now, if you want to view the previous coverage we've done about crime and teenagers in particular, you can visit our website at fox17.com.
At 8:02, we want to check in now and get your Thursday forecast. Greg, did you say earlier that we could reach heat indexes of 102?
102 to 105, not today, but on Sunday. Oh yeah, that's possible. Heat's gonna crank up on Sunday, and so will the humidity. We're already seeing influences of the heat. We're already in the 70s in some spots, and it's only 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll be up to 80s by the time we hit 10. Triple digit Sunday, it's possible. 99 is in the forecast for us here. So then you start thinking, okay, how many more days of this will we stuck with? We've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Could be all of next week too, with temperatures that will be in the 90s. We have an air quality alert for us here. We're all clear when it comes to code red, but that air quality alert just means that if you have a hard time breathing occasionally, or if you know that strenuous activity just gets you a little bit more laboring when it comes to respiratory issues, this is one of those days just to take it easy and just make sure you're monitoring yourself throughout the day and taking some breaks. It's not for everyone, but all the more densely populated areas across Middle Tennessee, that's what we're working through. Right now, we do have current temps right side of your screen, 93 this afternoon.
Steer clear traffic out there for you at 8:03. Here's a quick look at I-24. This is at Waldron Road. As you make that drive into town from the Laverne area, we're looking pretty good out there on the roads. No major problems or holdups over there in that area. We're still dealing with a slowdown coming in from the Clarksville area, and it's really going out. This could be 24 west at Maxey Road. We're dealing with a crash that did involve one person losing their life. This involved an 18-wheeler there around the Maxey Road exit. They've got the interstate shut down while they continue their investigation. It will be shut down at least until 9:30 this morning. Follow the detours or use Highway 41.
Well, today marks day one of a really popular music and arts festival, Bonnaroo. It's out in Manchester. We're mapping it out because it's about an hour southeast of Nashville. Headliners include the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Post Malone, and so many others. More than 65,000 people are expected to make their way to the farm. So right now, our Fox 17 News reporter, Karen Aguilar, is joining us live from Manchester, speaking with folks who are out there getting ready for all the fun.
They're getting ready, they're excited, and some of them are getting ready by pre-gaming. We've seen multiple people walk into this liquor store right here behind me. And I'm also here with Taylor Lewis, who was just about to walk in, and he tells me that he's an avid festival goer. Take a look at how many passes he has right here on his backpack. And not just that, he's driven all the way from Orlando, Florida, non-stop, 10 hours. So this is a really big deal. Why would you do something like that? What makes Bonnaroo so special?
Well, I think that the fact that it's, multi-genre and it has like different kinds of music for everybody, and that it's been going on for like almost, I think, 20 years now, maybe more, that makes it really something special. A lot of festivals, they struggle with like keeping things going and who owns them and stuff like that, but they've been pretty consistent. It is my first time, but I have friends that have been going for like 10 plus years and they go every year, so I think it's really cool.
Right, and what makes this one different? We were just talking about that, right? So I've been to Lollapalooza, I told you about that experience, and you're like, you know what, Bonnaroo doesn't have.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, this is a pretty big camping festival, so like they have, a pretty large camping grounds, like that has like stages and things like that and activities, whereas, even other camping festivals, they just have the campgrounds. They don't have like activities in the campgrounds or even stages in the campgrounds that like go all night, where Bonnaroo, the music goes till 5 a.m., which is actually kind of hard to find at a lot of festivals.
That's so exciting. So you have a 4-day pass. That's really great. Last question really quick. Who are you most excited to see?
Probably Fred again or Pretty Lights. I think Fred again, this is like Fred again's only U.S. headlining festival. So like he doesn't playing anywhere else. So it's kind of special to get to see him here.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be worth the drive. And of course, that's not the only artist that is going to be playing. There's going to be multiple artists, including Chris Lake, who is headlining tonight. And of course, my favorite, Megan Thee Stallion and Post Malone. Reporting live here in Manchester, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you. Justin and I are like, who are you talking about?
Listen, something for everybody out there.
That's true. Coming up, we're going to have some more details on a Tennessee trio arrested for terrorizing one particular community.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are partnering with Feeding America.
09 is the time. The Murfreesboro Fire Department says they've lost around $15.5 million over the last 5 years. It's because they're training firefighters who will not stay on the job. Now, some leave for better paying jobs. Others leave because they simply don't want to do the job. The Murfreesboro City Council is doing the best they can to hold on to the fire department. They wanted to give them raises to make sure that some of those firemen actually stay on the job. We heard from several council members who were grateful, supremely grateful at the job that the Murfreesboro Fire Department has done in their own lives.
A 45-year-old man collapsed on a ball field and was unresponsive with no pulse. Murfreesboro Fire and Rescue was there within 3 minutes. And some of the men in this room performed CPR for 17 minutes. And because of that, because they were there and they had the tools that they needed, because we believed in them and supported them, my husband got to come home 7 days later.
Jamie, they saved my life a few times.
Yeah.
In fact, just Sunday.
Are you okay, man?
I passed out at church and I wake up and firefighters.
Wow. Okay, so the Murfreesboro City Council is offering a 4% pay raise for the fire department and other departments there as well. They're also thinking about other measures they can take to make sure that the firefighters actually stay with the department after training. We're new this morning. The Putnam County Fire Department is working to determine the cause of a blaze that destroyed a home yesterday. You're taking a look at the pictures of all the smoke and flames where it happened. Took place on Heathwood West Drive around 10:30 in the morning. Firefighters say the flames were coming through the roof when they arrived, and it took about an hour and a half to get that fire under control. They say crews stayed on the scene late into the night to monitor any hot spots. Thankfully, no one was hurt. All right, a wild story to tell you about with Operation Crime and Justice. We are learning more about what led up to the arrest of 3 people in Madison County, North Carolina. Authorities say they rented an Airbnb to terrorize the community. Now, the sheriff there in Madison County, North Carolina, says that the 3 people are from East Tennessee, a small town called Elizabethton, which is just next to the Johnson City area at the Tri-Cities up there in the corner. Now, the sheriff says that he watched several video of the trio's home and car break-ins in the area where they've rented that Airbnb. They also learned that the trio struck early in the mornings, so he says he switched all the detectives to late at night to make sure they could track down the suspects. We're told they were arrested at a gas station last Wednesday. The sheriff says that the 3 suspects are looking at being involved in a string of crimes in Tennessee as well, but right now they're being held at a Madison County, North Carolina jail.
Coming up in the forecast, we've been talking about the heat is here. It's prolonged into and out of the weekend, but when the humidity backs it up and gives us our hottest day of the next 10 coming up in a few minutes.
And steer clear traffic continues to be a slow roll coming in from the Pleasant View area. We have got a crash that has shut down the interstate, and it's going to remain shut down for the next couple of hours. We're going to take you there and tell you why.
Crisis in the Classroom, only on Fox 17 News.
We've been breathing this. Lots of people don't realize that mold feeds off moisture in their crawl space. But don't worry, we got this.
At AFS, we'll do a home inspection for free.
We have continuing coverage this Thursday morning regarding updates in the death of 23-month-old Ariel Rose.
Ariel Rose died from fentanyl toxicity in November of 2022. 2 people have been arrested in connection with her death, but now there's a civil lawsuit.
A lot more updates. So right now, Fox 17 News' investigative reporter Amanda Chin has the very latest on this lawsuit.
Good morning. Well, we know that Ariel Rose's grandfather wants to hold the nonprofit running the facility accountable. But new evidence submitted into the file reveals details about other entities potentially involved at the location where Ariel died. Now, attorneys for Mickey Rose, Ariel's grandfather, are now potentially pointing fingers at Kingdom Group in this lawsuit. Kingdom Group is a developer company focused on breaking cycles of poverty and assisting faith-based institutions. Back in February of 2023, the group confirmed to me they owned the building where Ariel died. Emails submitted by Mickey's attorney show a woman emailing Kingdom Group back in March of 2022 asking about the death of her brother. Her email states in part, "I don't believe that enough was done to prevent his death, and I believe this is just the beginning of problems for this facility." Now keep in mind, my investigation last August revealed that drug-related death and another death at this housing facility months before Ariel died.
So Amanda, what is the response from Kingdom Group in all of this here?
Yeah, so I've reached out to Kingdom Group and I'm actually waiting to hear back from the owner. However, last February, they sent me a statement saying they leased the building to nonprofit Community Care Fellowship, and Kingdom Group has no involvement in the nonprofit's management of the program. However, in the company's most recent filing, they claim they should not be a party in this lawsuit because they say they do not own the property where the incident occurred. However, that contradicts what they told me last year.
All right, Amanda Chin, thank you so much for updating us this morning. In Operation Crime and Justice, Fox 17 News still pushing for answers when it comes to safety concerns with WeGo.
They say a woman is now facing charges after police say she threatened a security guard with a knife at the WeGo station. Police say that the security guard told police that Brandy Jennings threatened her with a knife. Police say that security footage shows that Jennings took the knife from another person at the bus station and then started recording the guard with her phone as she waved that knife around. This latest incident comes after several other acts of violence at either the WeGo station or aboard WeGo buses over the past month.
8:18 our time. Taking a look at the forecast. We've been harping on the heat all morning, which is not going away. But I want to take you out to the airport right now when it comes to our forecast here and what is happening when it comes to flight delays and why there are some delays that are on the board this morning. We're at 72 degrees here at 9 a.m., 86 if you have an early afternoon flight, and then later in the day it'll be near 90 and sunny. Nashville's not a problem today when it comes to flights that are being delayed. However, there are 38 of them on the big board with 6 cancellations. Almost all of that delay activity is from the south and east of us here. We're talking areas in Georgia, the Carolinas, but especially in Florida, where they've put down more than a foot of rain in the last 2 days. So check your flight carefully and check the Florida flights, especially before you hit the road and start trying to get your way out to BNA. 73 degrees right now, no wind, and that no wind has also put us into an air quality alert for today. So looks a little bit hazy right now, and if you have respiratory issues or just, strenuous activity gets to you and it labors your breathing a little bit, today could be a little bit tougher. Lunchtime, we're already hot. 84 degrees at 11, 89 by 1 p.m., and then we're in the 90s all the way through around 6, 7 o'clock this evening. And that's not the only one. We're back to the heat story. 95 degrees tomorrow, 94 on Saturday, and right near 100 on Father's Day for Sunday. If we hit 100, it ties the temperature record set back in 1952.
Stay clear traffic at 8:20 this morning. Quick look here at what we're dealing with at I-65. This is going to be at the 24 junction just north of town. We're dealing with typical slowdowns this time of the day as you make that drive in. It is slow, but then again, it's kind of always slow up here around 8:20. So this shouldn't be too much of a shock. The other thing we've got going on, of course, is that crash coming down from the Pleasant View area as you go towards Clarksville. We're dealing with a slowdown right at Maxey Road as police continue their investigation there after a deadly crash that happened around 1:15 this morning. Follow the detours and try to use Highway 41 if you can.
After the break, we have disturbing details regarding a woman convicted of the double murder of her infant sons. Now she's back.
Operation Operation Crime and Justice this morning. A woman convicted of killing her infant twins in Hendersonville is now back in custody. This is after the state attorney general revoked her bond.
Disturbing details here. Lindsay Lowe, this woman on your screen, was serving a life sentence for the double murder of her infant sons back in 2011. Nearly 2 years ago, Lowe was granted a new trial after her attorneys argued she did not get a fair trial due to juror bias. A judge agreed. Lowe's conviction was later overturned and then she was set free.
On Friday, Lowe was rearrested and booked back into the Sumter County Jail before being set free on bond. Coming up on Tuesday, the court granted a motion filed by the state of Tennessee to revoke Lowe's bond, and she is now serving the remainder of her life sentence.
We also have some more updates, this time out of Memphis, where 2 suspects are in custody. And this is a wild story. A shooting in Memphis on the interstate left 1 man and then 4 young children in critical condition.
Let's take a look at the young man right here on your screen. He is young, 21 years old, Kendrick Ray. He is one of 2 suspects. In this shooting. Police say that he, along with an 18-year-old named Lorenzo Watson, fired shots at 5 victims while they were driving along on Interstate 240 during rush hour. This happened on Tuesday afternoon.
Officials say they led police on a chase and crashed a stolen car before ultimately being taken into custody. Now they're both facing multiple charges, including attempted first-degree murder, evading arrest, and theft of a motor vehicle. This morning they remain in jail and the investigation is ongoing.
A look at our forecast. We're talking about heat and just some things you can do if you've got a little shade in the backyard, a couple of trees. It's not going to be humid today, so shade will help out quite a bit to beat the sun, but the temperatures will still be climbing fairly quickly. 86 degrees at noon, 90 degrees at 3 p.m. Or maybe you didn't listen when we told you all week long up until today that if you had yard work or if you had to mow the lawn to get it done, and you're going to be out there stuck in the heat at some point. We're going yellow light. We have no rain until next week, but the problem is we're going to have the heat and the humidity is going to get worse for the weekend, and the heat will get even hotter. So if you're going to pick a day that you have to battle through 90s to cut the grass, I would definitely pick today. Now, coming up in about 5 minutes here, as we start our 8:30 half hour, we're going to look at a few things. We'll look ahead to that one little chance for rain next week. We'll be talking about Father's Day and how close to record-breaking we'll be. We'll also look back to Father's Days past and see how this one's going to stack up and how well it's going to treat Dad or how well it's not compared to the last couple of years.
Steer clear traffic at 8:26. A quick look here at what we're dealing with at 65 at Armory Drive. This is on the south side of town. We were dealing with a crash on the shoulder a short time ago. That certainly was causing some problems and some slowdowns as you approach 100 Oaks. Right now, we're looking a lot better as that crash has cleared in that location. It has not cleared in the Pleasant View area. That's where the interstate remains closed. It's been closed since 1:15 this morning after a deadly crash near Maxey Road there in Pleasant View. You want to take Highway 41 to steer clear. Police say it could remain closed for at least another hour.
We have another breaking news update. Today, the Senate is expected to vote on a bill that would guarantee access to in vitro fertilization across the country. This legislation would protect the right for individuals to receive IVF treatment as well as make it more affordable. The procedural vote, though, is likely to fail due to GOP opposition. It also comes as the U.S. marks 2 years since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade.
Well, coming up, we're breaking down all the fun going on at Bonnaroo. Some of the fun, some of the festivities, and some of the people.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
8:30 is the time, and right now we're taking a live look from Manchester, talking about how folks are getting ready for Bonnaroo and all the different unique ways. We're going to have live interviews with folks who are celebrating a little early this morning, okay?
They're getting the libations, as they would say, to get ready for the weekend. Taking a look here. Oh, we got to get up with a different kind of hydration. We have got our hottest streak of the year so far. We'll let you know how long it's going to last coming up in your forecast.
And steer clear traffic takes us to downtown Nashville. That's I-40 at Broadway, where we just had something clear up a short time ago. We're going to show you our biggest problem, though, coming down from Pleasant View. Just a few moments.
Thank you so much for joining us here on a Thursday morning. For Fox 17 News, I'm Erica Glover.
And I'm Justin McFarland. Fox 17 News is your only live and local news source with you from 7 until 9 this morning. Let's talk about the weather.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot one, potentially reaching records when it comes to the index, 102. That's what Greg said.
Yeah, when Sunday is the day it'll point out when it comes to the most humidity and the highest temperatures we're going to see, but it's a gradual build to get there. The top 3 things to know here is a new pattern has settled in. What that means is heat has taken over everything. Think about the last month and a half. It's mainly been stormy pattern after stormy pattern, one hot day here or there. No rain until at least next week. And those rain chances are really tiny. Now we're in an air quality alert. We have no wind, and we haven't for a few days. So all the pollutants that are in the air, all the allergens in the air, they have not really moved or gone anywhere. They're just stagnant. And that's across most of the areas that are most heavily populated, as you would think. So be careful if you have respiratory issues, if you have asthma, allergies, if you have little kids, if you know some older neighbors, relatives, friends. Those are the ones who are most susceptible to just having a tough time later. Take it easy if you can. If you got to be outside, extra breaks if possible. You can even see a little haze over Nashville. We're not code red for this. This is going to be typical for us for the next 10 to 14 days. I'm going to show you what I mean in the 7-day forecast and look ahead to Sunday's potential record-breaking heat.
Steer clear traffic. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with here at I-40 at Broadway. This is in downtown Nashville. We're doing fine over there on the West Loop. We did have a bit of a slowdown a little bit earlier because of a disabled vehicle that was sitting on the shoulder, but no longer a problem. You're doing fine there in downtown. Where we're not doing fine is coming down from Pleasant View as that backup just gets longer and longer. There's a shutdown at I-24 near Maxey Road. That's in the Pleasant View area before you get to Clarksville. That's 24 West. It's shut down because of a deadly accident that happened around 1:15 this morning. We are still waiting to see exactly when the road could reopen. THP says it could be around 9:30 to 10 before it does.
Right now, though, we're talking about Bonnaroo, the popular music festival. It officially begins today, and so many folks, tens of thousands, are heading to the area. It means lots of business. It means lots of traffic.
Yeah, and lots of fun, hopefully, there in Manchester. Let's get out to Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar, who's live out there in Manchester inside of one of the local businesses to tell us about the excitement.
Good morning. Yes, I'm inside Interstate Liquors, and you mentioned business. Bonnaroo is bringing a lot of business to this liquor store right here, and we've just seen some people behind me in line who were going to Bonnaroo, and the co-owner of Interstate Liquors is right here with me. She was just talking to them about what you were telling them what they need in order to get inside.
They were first-time festival goers and weren't aware they cannot take plastic. I'm sorry, they cannot take glass into the festival grounds. So what we do is we have plastic so they can transfer from their glass bottle, so they get to drink what they want to drink, but play by the rules. And then we take the glass bottles and get rid of them.
Absolutely, and of course this is just one of the many ways to celebrate and enjoy Bonnaroo. One of the big things that we talked about earlier was the economic impact it has for your business. You were telling me that this is the busiest weekend you normally see. Can you tell me more about that?
Sure, this is kind of like having Christmas in the middle of the summer. We get so much traffic through our store in the entire city. And so it's a great way to help everybody around, and folks that come in get to learn more about our state and our surroundings.
All right, well, thank you so much. And it's never too early, I guess, to come here and enjoy yourself and start and pregame early. But again, there are other ways to celebrate this. There even is a Soberoo booth in case you don't drink, and there's a lot of different booths that offer food options. So for example, if you're vegan like myself, you can definitely partake in that. But this is just a huge weekend for all of Tennessee, people coming from all over, including the guy we just talked to that came from Orlando, Florida. So tickets are still available online if you want to go get them. Reporting live here in Manchester, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, Karen, thank you so much. In Operation Crime and Justice, a mother and son are now under arrest. Police say they are responsible for a shooting that took place during an argument last month.
Now we're getting some more updates. Fox 17 News learning from police that they arrested Michelle Thornton and her son, DeAndre Thornton, right here on your screen Tuesday afternoon as they were driving on Gallatin Pike North. Well, police also say during this arrest, they found 2 guns in the car. Now the mom and the son are both charged for the May 28th shooting with attempted criminal homicide.
8:36 is the time, and new this morning. Metro Council member Joyce Stiles is introducing a no-confidence resolution over 2 Metro directors because of the way they handled a controversy surrounding the Metro Arts Commission.
This story has a lot of components here.
It does.
We'll break it down. The move is aimed at the Director of Finance as well as the Director of Law. The resolution states that Metro Arts is in better financial shape than claimed in a March memo to Metro Council.
From the Director of Finance, Kevin Crumbo is his name, and they say that's to the tune of nearly several $100,000. And that's a little confusing. They're also saying that there was some confusing legal advice about grant funding structures as well, and left a lot of the people who were set to get those grants waiting for months on end. They want somewhat of an apology for that as well. The next Metro Council meeting is set for June the 18th. There's been no response from the Nashville Mayor, Freddie O'Connell, who appoints both of those positions as of yet.
We always have a lot of visitors here in Middle Tennessee. We're showing you a live look from Metro Center. But Fox 17 News updating some more breaking news this morning regarding Disney and a board backed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Well, they have now reached a development agreement. And under the deal, Disney promises to invest up to $17 billion in their Florida resort over the next 10 to 20 years. It also sets up a framework for potential theme park expansions. The 15-year agreement was negotiated as part of a settlement following a years-long legal dispute between Disney and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
Well, summer is officially just a week away, but the hot weather is already moving into the mid-state, and so is the dangerous air quality. We're going to take a live look here at our Nashville City camera across Metro Center. The Metro Health Department is now warning that Middle Tennesseans could be facing some air quality concerns for today, especially for sensitive groups like people with asthma, older adults and children, as well as people working outdoors. Now, if you do have to work outdoors, they're asking you to please try to take more breaks, hydrate, and try to schedule some of the heavier outdoor activities before the hottest times of the day, or perhaps after the peak hotness of the day. So we wanted to ask some of you over on our X page, how hot is too hot for you? Well, most of you have said 90 degrees or over is too hot for you, which means today is going to be too hot for you because we're going to get to 90 in a lot of locations. If you want to chime in for yourself, you can do so by scanning that QR code at the side of your screen. You can also find us at our X page over at Fox Nashville.
In adding up those numbers there, nearly 20% said there's no such thing as too hot. So it's about 70% of you guys that are like, unless it's 90, we're okay here across Middle Tennessee. Well, if 90 is too hot for you, I apologize for the near future. 93 later today, close to a record. 95 tomorrow, close to a record. 94 on Saturday, not near record territory, but look at Sunday. Father's Day, 99, 1 degree away from a record that was set back in the 1950s. And let's just take a look at what this means long term here and then compare it to the past. Long term, the next 16 days could be upwards or right at that 90-degree mark. I did not stutter there. The next 14 to almost 16 days could be that hot or right in that territory. Last 3 Father's Days were still warm. They were all right around 90 degrees. This will be our 4th one in a row where we don't have any rain. We're going to wish we had some. By the time you see the 7-day forecast, you're going to go, where's the rain at? We have turned off the faucet for the time being.
Steer clear traffic for you this morning. Want to take a look at what's happening here on I-65. This is at Armory Drive on the south side. We were dealing with a crash earlier this morning that has some leftover residue here. Things are still a little bit slow as you approach 440 there on the south side. Our biggest problem, though, by far continues to be that crash at I-24 and Maxey Road. This is in the Pleasant View area. Interstate remains shut down while police do their investigation. Could open up around 9:30.
Well, after the break, a mid-state astronaut speaking with students while on board the International Space Station. Do you see that Tennessee flag behind him? We're going to share some of those questions.
There's no preparation really that you can do for a standardized test like this. You either know the material or you don't, and it depends on how you test.
Well, just into our newsroom, in the last few minutes, the Tennessee Department of Education has released the results for the ELA portion of the 2023-2024 standardized test, the reading test.
Yeah, based on these results, some 3rd graders may have to repeat 3rd grade before moving on to the 4th grade. Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse joining us live at the Capitol with more on these results and the impact. Good morning, Peyton.
Yeah, good morning, Justin and Erica. So the law is designed to make sure that kids are reading at an appropriate grade level in order to move on to 4th grade. Now, how this is determined is through TCAP testing. So exactly how many students, how many 3rd graders will be left back? Well, we don't have the hard numbers on that yet, but the state did just send out some data, and it shows that 3rd graders are on a steady path of improvement.
If 3rd grader scores do not meet or exceed expectations for the English language arts portion of TCAP, they're at risk of repeating 3rd grade. The state lays out opportunities to get students' reading levels up again. They can go to summer school, get tutoring, or retake the ELA portion of the test. J.C. Bowman with Professional Educators of Tennessee says the retention numbers can impact schools and teachers. Some districts may need more resources, but Bowman wants to make this clear. If a student does not pass the test, it doesn't mean they can't read. It means they need help before going forward.
If you can read on grade level by end of grade 3, then it means that you can go on to be successful and really read on grade level moving forward.
But a lot of the times, these kids have already built their social network. They've made their friends, they've learned social skills, and it's really hard and embarrassing for them to be held back.
Most experts will tell you, let's retain them earlier, like kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade, rather than by 3rd and 4th grade.
This is another aspect of the law he believes needs to be considered.
And again, reading at least from 3rd grade and moving on to 4th grade, it's important, and it can show whether or not these kids have the building blocks in order to be a successful reader. But the state, I did ask them, hey, what's the numbers looking like as far as retention goes? And the hard numbers, they don't have them yet. The state did come back to me and say that later on this summer, once we get the final TCAP scores out, which will be out again later this summer, they'll have a better idea of exactly how many students will have to repeat 3rd grade, and we will continue to push for those answers from the state. Reporting live at the Capitol, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Cookeville station.
Well, after a series of failed launches, NASA astronaut and Mount Juliet native Butch Wilmore finally made it into space on Boeing's Starliner spacecraft last week, and now he's answering some questions.
Yeah, Wilmore took a little time out of his day from running tests aboard the International Space Station to answer questions from students right here in Middle Tennessee, right there at his alma mater at Tennessee Tech. Watch.
Hey, I am Ian from Cookeville, Tennessee, and I'd like to ask a question. What does it feel like during a rocket launch?
A rocket launch is very difficult to describe. Wow. It is pushed back because you're laying on your back as you launch. You're pushed back and the spacecraft is rumbling. You can feel the engines roar, and there's different sequences and stages where parts of the propellant is spent, so parts of the rocket will leave and go away, and you feel all of that and the jarring. And finally you reach main engine cutoff. When the engine's cut off, they don't like degrade over time. They just snap and they're done, which kind of throws you forward in your seat because you've been pushed back at like the equivalent of about 3.5 Gs, and then all of a sudden you're in space and it's zero gravity, and it's quite the transition. It is a fantastic ride, I'm telling you. I recommend it to all of you.
I gotta say, these students who've been sharing their questions, and they asked really good questions.
Really good questions. NASA and Boeing say they expect to bring the Starliner and its crew back to Earth as soon as next Tuesday.
How cool is that right there? First of all, you're talking to someone who's in space, who's right here back home, and you're getting your questions answered. Oh, like 10-year-old me is so jealous right now. Taking a look here at our curious question. We're talking back on Earth, specifically the United States. In what month are the most ice cream cones sold in the U.S.? Could be a good day for one. June, July, August, or September? I'll have the answer for you coming up in just a couple minutes. Dog of the day is Sable, our teacup Yorkie sent in by Betty. And Betty, if you've had Sable for a while, we know how today's going to go. This is the routine we have to get into as pet owners, where you walk really early in the morning, or it's the quick ins and outs for the afternoon. 80 degrees already at 10 o'clock, 86 degrees by the time we get to 12. It's going to be a very warm day. Pavement will be up to about 125 to 140 degrees. Not something you want to walk on for a prolonged amount of time. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, we have a 93-degree high, 95 tomorrow, and then up near 99 degrees for Father's Day on Sunday. Coming up, we'll get the answer answer to your curious question and my last thoughts on some potential rain next week.
Developing news out of Madison this morning. That's where one teenager has died after an overnight shooting. We'll have an update in moments. Plus, I've got to tell you one more time about a closure of the interstate at I-24 near Maxey Road. It's been shut down. Well, new this morning, we now know that a 16-year-old was shot during a fight on yesterday afternoon, has died from his injuries.
Metro Police explaining that two groups of teenagers planned to meet up in a park in Madison to settle an argument, and the situation escalated. Police say two of the teenagers began firing shots at each other and that Justin Robinson was rushed to the hospital after being shot in the chest, and he died overnight.
Investigators are still looking for some of the teens who ran off after that shooting took place.
In Operation Crime and Justice, we are also getting some more details about what led up to the arrest of 3 people in Madison County, North Carolina, who authorities say rented an Airbnb to terrorize the community. We're putting the pieces together as to how it impacts Middle Tennessee.
Bizarre story here. The sheriff there in Madison County, North Carolina, says that the trio is from Elizabethton, which is a small town just outside of Johnson City, Tennessee. This is all near the Tri-Cities up there in the corner of the state. The sheriff says he watched several videos of the trio breaking into cars and homes in and around the area where they were renting an Airbnb. He also says that the trio struck early in the morning, so he switched all of his detectives to late at night to track these folks down. They were arrested outside of a gas station last Wednesday. The sheriff says they're also suspected in a string of crimes right here in Tennessee, but they're still being held right now in North Carolina.
And now more disturbing details regarding other stories can be read over at fox17.com. We want to check in now with our Code Red meteorologist, Greg Bobus.
Yeah, we're starting off here. Heat's starting to crank up as we speak. We were in the 60s. It was comfortable. Not anymore. Going to be 90s later on today, so maybe you want to cool down and just find a way to beat the heat, and that might be to have a little sweet treat. Answer to our curious question here for you this morning. I asked you, which month in the United States do we sell the most ice cream cones? Which month? Is it June, July, August, or September? And if you at home are sitting on the couch and going, August, you are right. That is the month where in the United States we sell the most ice cream cones. But this month, you might want that because take a look.
It's hot.
We're stringing them together, guys. We've got 7 in a row that'll be at or above 90 degrees. Sunday's the day to watch. If we hit 100, we tie a record set back in the 1950s. It's Father's Day. Find a way to beat the heat somewhere indoors, maybe some AC for Dad.